Sports on Air.
Episode 7, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Athlete's Corner, only here on Sports on Air, presented to you by Cloudwalk Digital. We are your host. My name is CD Argarin.
And my name is Miguel Latorre. Yes, tama.
Dito lang po sa Athlete's Corner kung saan pag-uusapan natin ang buhay ng ating special guest on and off the court.
Yes, and we're gonna have a very different episode right now because now we're gonna have to talk in English
Again.
the whole episode because our guy here isn't really that fluent in Filipino yet. Am I right?
Yeah, that's right. Not 100% fluent, pero matuto ng magsalita.
Yeah. That's a good one.
I like that try. Anyway,
I try.
We're gonna give him a proper introduction later. But before we do that, Mig, how are you, brother? How's life? I'm sure you're happy because your Utah Jazz tried.
Yes.
They tried. They put up a good fight, but come on.
I'm actually outside Vivint Arena right now. No?
But how are you, brother? What's popping? How's life?
Yeah, well, everything's fine. A while ago, I was watching the NBA. It was a wild game between the Celtics and the Raptors.
Yeah,
and,
Game 7.
And I feel so happy to see the Celtics back again. Jason Tatum, he's a very good kid. I can give him that, man. How about you? How are you?
I'm not good, bro.
Why? Why not?
Well, as you know, I lost to our friend Jonash.
Shout
out to Jonash. I lost 500 peso bet to him. Lakers versus Portland. I thought Portland was gonna do it, but unfortunately not. And right now, it seems that Lakers gonna advance to the West Finals because a 3-1 lead on the Rockets, and man, I just hate the fact that I lost.
Yeah, actually, I'm hoping for a Boston Celtics LA Lakers matchup in the finals. No?
I'm rocking with the Heat. Anyway,
you're right.
I'm sure another guy has a lot of NBA stories here. But
of course.
So let's introduce this guy, man.
Mm-hmm. Okay, for this episode, we got a former Ateneo Blue Eagle star selected in the 2014 UAAP Mythical team and was selected as the 4th overall pick of the 2015 PBA draft.
He was the Rookie of the Year in that rookie class. He's also a former Slam Dunk champion in 2017. He was part of the 3x3 gold medalist team. And right now, he's the best combo guard. He's one of the best. I'm going to say it. He's the best combo guard in the league, man. Please welcome Chris Newsome. What's up, Chris?
Yeah.
What's up, CD, Migs? Thanks for having me, and thanks for that amazing intro.
Yeah, no problem, man.
I appreciate that. I definitely feel that it is my time to kind of step up and get recognized as one of the best two-way players.
Sure.
So I think that's I don't have the awards to prove that, to back that up yet, but
you got
hopefully,
the game, though.
Thank you. Hopefully within the next couple seasons, if we get going again, then I'll be able to pick up an award.
They'll come. I'm sure they'll come.
It's a crime that you haven't even gotten one yet, man.
Yeah.
But anyway, before we actually go to our topics right now, let's talk about NBA.
Sure.
What team you're rocking with this year?
Okay, so if you know me, anybody that knows me, sorry, Migs, I am a Denver Nuggets fan.
It's okay.
I've been a Nuggets fan ever since I was a kid. Grew up watching. And being in New Mexico, Denver is one of the closest teams to us. So it was normally either Denver or Phoenix or like the Spurs. Those are the closest teams to New Mexico. And my uncle lived in Denver, and I've been there a few times. And so the first NBA game I ever watched was Denver Nuggets. So that's why I became a Nuggets fan. It was actually Melo, and he was playing against Amari and Steve Nash in Phoenix at that time. So that's why I like the Nuggets, and they're doing okay. They actually had a good win today.
Great. Yeah,
they're hanging in there.
Force the game 6.
It's going to be a tough one, but we've seen them do it before, so you can't count them out.
Yeah, they came back from a 3-1 deficit before. They can do it again. I'm sure of that.
I respect Jamal Murray. I respect Nikola Jokic. MPJ is a killer, but come on, Kawhi and PG is just too much for them. This is
too.
not
It
the
is a
time yet.
lot.
This is
It
not
is
the
a
time
lot.
yet.
I think what goes in the Nuggets' favor is Coach Mike Malone. He's really smart. He can make his adjustments. We saw how he made his adjustments against the Jazz.
Yeah.
Winning 3 games straight, that's no small feat. And that's not just the players alone. That definitely you have to give respect to the game plan as well when it comes to that. So hopefully they can continue to make those adjustments and force a game 7. But again, you got to take it one game at a time.
We'll see. We'll see. But I want to ask you this, Chris. How about in the
Sure.
East? Celtics and Heat. What do you got on that series?
It's really fun what's happening over in the East. I love seeing it. The Heat was actually my dark horse. I called them.
They're my pick.
Really? Yeah. Well, yeah. So I called them as my dark horse, and I knew Toronto wasn't going to be able to pass Boston, but the question was whether or not Milwaukee was going to beat Miami, and we saw how that ended up. And
that
was
a crazy series. That
was
the first time that I saw the number 1 seed become the underdog.
Yeah, in a matter of seconds, you saw it.
They had the MVP, the defensive player of the year. Yeah, they're the underdog, and
they have 2 All-Stars. Not to mention they have 2 All-Stars.
That's right. And when you look at the Miami Heat, they're playing really well together.
Yeah.
They believe in this system. They know their roles. They have that leader in Jimmy Butler. Yeah. And whenever you have a team that's playing like that, that's always scary, especially in the playoffs. So you can't count them out. Boston, they went through a 7-game series now. So that kind of helps as far as mental preparation wise. The Heat didn't really have to handle that much adversity when it comes to getting to the Eastern Conference Finals. They lost 1 game.
Yeah.
They lost just 1 game.
Right. So that they have it. They've had it pretty easy up until this point. Not necessarily easy, but they haven't had their back against the wall.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying. And Boston, they had to, they had their back against the wall. They had to be in a do or die situation, forcing a game 7. So that kind of helps them to mature a little bit. And it's just going to be a dogfight. I think these are the.
This is going to be a great series.
This is actually this is the best matchup.
I'm really excited.
This is the most exciting matchup.
I think this will be their first ever meeting in a conference final since LeBron James.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
LeBron was and that would be a great series. I just can't wait. I know we'll probably see the Battle of LA out in the West, but Celtics and Heat on the East.
Yeah. To win, I want to see probably. I'm gonna have to go for Miami. Out of Miami and Boston, I would like to see Miami. I actually picked Boston.
They got a better chance of winning a title against one of those LA teams if that would happen.
True.
Yeah.
I think they got a better chance again over the younger Celtics. Anyway, well, let's head right into this conversation. Enough of the NBA for now. Let's just take a time machine. Look back at your career. I'll start it off. College, man.
Yeah.
New Mexico Highlands University, Division II.
That's right. Yeah.
So, how was that experience? Being able to play in a high-level college school, elevating your game as a young guy. You in your final year, you averaged 10 points, 4.2 rebounds, and you were not too bad, man.
Yeah.
So, take us back to those days.
Yeah, that was definitely it was a great time for me just because I'm coming out of high school and as a high school student, you always dreamed about playing at the next level, right?
Yeah.
And for me, I wasn't really the most recruited. I wasn't the most talented on my team in high school. We won a state championship in 2007. And out of that team, I was the least recruited guy on the starting 5. So me being able to have that opportunity to play college basketball was a blessing, and I was really, really excited. And I was able to stay in New Mexico, which means I was still close to my family. My family was able to watch the games, but I think that's where I learned the most as far as the game of basketball. Coming out of high school, you just got raw talent, right? And then all of a sudden you enter U.S. Division II college basketball, and all of a sudden everyone's bigger, everyone's smarter, everyone's faster,
Everything is different now.
and everything is just so much different. And it takes some adjustment. But then I guess I really had a good coach that helped pull me aside and say, like, hey, this is basketball. You're very gifted. You're very athletic, but this is how the game is played, right? And he was able to show me X's and O's, how to look for mismatches, how to read the defense, read ahead, and just use your guys like chess pieces as far as like a point guard does. And that's actually why I kind of have the point guard mentality no matter what position I'm playing, It doesn't matter if I'm the 3, 2, or I can literally be the point guard.
Yeah.
I learned that from him. I learned how to think about the game from Coach Joe Harge. And honestly, I think it was great just because I got to have that U.S. college experience.
Yeah.
I got to see what it was like. I got a taste of it and did 3 years of that. We actually had the greatest turnaround in NCAA history. It's a record that we set there, meaning the year before I got there, they only won 1 game. And then my rookie year, we won 22 games, I believe.
That's a big improvement.
That was a big improvement. We set a record for that. We were very proud of that. And that was basically my Highlands experience. It was more of a growth.
Yeah, well, you certainly grew. You certainly become better. But I want to ask, after 3 years in Highlands University, did you even try to go in the NBA? Do you have a tryout or talk to some maybe something like that?
So the coach I was playing for, his name is Joe Harge, right? He was actually a NBA D-League head coach for Arkansas, and he actually won an NBA title there. And then he worked with Michael Cooper with the Albuquerque Thunderbirds at the time. They were a D-League team. And so Albuquerque, that's my hometown, so that's like right there. So, of course, I had some tryouts. Coach was able to, give me to some tryouts, play with some of the other guys that were there, test the pool. But what actually the biggest factor for me was that he knew a couple of people in the Philippines already. And I actually had my tattoo, and he saw my tattoo, so I was Filipino. And that's whenever he contacted coaches from here. And one of those, the coach was actually Josh Reyes, the son of Coach Chot.
Yeah.
So that's who he contacted. And basically the option was, okay, I could stay in Highlands for 1 more year and then try out for the NBA D-League, or I can go ahead and see what my options were in the Philippines. And I flew out, when was this, 2009? I flew out with my dad to the Philippines, and that's whenever that whole journey became a reality. So,
before you flew out here in the Philippines, did you know anything about the basketball crazy here?
I didn't, man.
You didn't know anything about it?
I just knew word of mouth. I just knew, like, obviously Filipinos love basketball, but I didn't really picture it being that big. Like, I didn't know it was to that scale. So one time my mom came back to visit. She came to the Philippines to visit, and whenever she came back to the States, she brought me a pasalubong, and it was a Mark Kagua jersey, right?
Oh, nice.
So that was like the first little piece of PBA that I touched, was a Mark Kagua jersey, and at the time, I was just like, oh, that's cool. They have their own league. That's cool. They have different teams, and they weren't broadcasting it in New Mexico where I was, so I couldn't see it. And it was very hard to get access to. But that's actually, that was what, maybe my second year of high school, second year of high school. And that's kind of whenever I got introduced to the PBA, like what it was, that it was actually a thing. It was actually a league that you can play in. And that's, well, I didn't find out that basketball was just really big until you really come here and see it for yourself.
Well, now you know. Now you know how big it is.
For sure.
Well, we all know you went to Ateneo, but how did you land in Ateneo? Like, who recruited you? Did Coach Norman Back recruited you, or any other staff?
So this kind of happened pretty fast, but like I was saying, I was at my Division II with Coach Joe Harge. He
Yeah.
knew Josh Reyes. He messaged Josh. Josh was in the States doing coaching clinics, and he flew to New Mexico and actually saw me work out for a little bit. And that's whenever he realized that, I had some talent, and then he gave me the option to come to the Philippines. So me and my dad flew out, and what we did is at first we went to Talk and Text, actually. It was a Talk and Text practice in Moro, and that's where I practiced with Talk and Text for a little bit, got to meet some of the players like Jimmy, JD, Ali Peak was there, Kelly was there, Jason was there, Larry was there. So basically all these guys were there.
This 09?
This was 09, so this is during their heyday.
Yeah.
So that's when I really got introduced to all of them, and then Coach Norman was an assistant coach at Talk and Text at the time, or consultant, sorry. And then so what happened is after my practice with Talk and Text, he invited me to Ateneo practice right after. So I just stayed, went to Ateneo practice, saw the guys, and they were actually getting ready for Ateneo LaSalle game. Yeah. So it was a big week for them, and I had no idea what Ateneo LaSalle was, so I was still fresh, and then, I just seen the cameras and the media, and everybody was there at the practice, and I was just like, what's really going on right now? And so then, they invited us. They said, tomorrow's like the Ateneo LaSalle game. It's one of the biggest games here in the Philippines that you definitely got to watch. So they gave me 2 tickets. Me and my dad went.
Yeah.
First time ever in Araneta. First time ever at Ateneo LaSalle. And my mind was just like blown. I was just like, wow, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen as a basketball player. And so then it was like the next day that they toured me around the campus, and they asked me, is this something that you're considering? And then I told them, yeah, it definitely is.
Yes, right away?
It wasn't a yes right away because I was actually still playing for Coach Joe Harge, and I was the starting point guard at the time. So I had to go back and talk to Coach Joe. I said, hey, I want to come back for my senior year, and I just came off a good junior year, averaging double points, and so he was really counting on me to come back. And I think we sat down and we had the meeting, and Coach Joe really understood and said, you know what, you got to do what's best for your career. It'd be selfish of me to keep you here at Highlands just for one more year, but of course I want you to have the best that you can have. And so we put together that conversation with Coach Joe and Coach Norman, and they were able to kind of agree on letting me go. And then, then it wasn't actually, I finished school up in March, April, May. I ended my 3rd year in Highlands in May.
Yeah.
And at the time, Ateneo started school in June. So I actually went from May straight into school, straight into Ateneo. So went from one school in May, started Ateneo June, had to sit 2-year residency in Ateneo before I could actually start playing. But that's how I actually ended up there.
Man,
kind of lucky, but
an Ateneo LaSalle game.
First game
showed you how much crazy basketball here and made you go to Ateneo. Finally, you're back, bro.
Sorry about that. I had an interruption. I'm sorry.
Anyway, I got another question, man.
Okay.
Was it just Ateneo? Like, no other school tried to recruit you?
There was so actually San Beda was actually one of the first schools that heard of me.
San Beda?
The coach there at the time was Frankie Lim, I believe.
Yeah.
And he heard of my video footage on YouTube, and so they were trying to get me out of high school. But the problem there was I didn't have my passport at the time, so we had to wait for on both ends. I didn't have my U.S. passport or my Filipino passport, so that was a long process that it was going to take some time to be able to get all that paperwork done. So we decided for me to actually go to Division II. But then actually during that trip when I came and visited for the first time, I actually went to UP. Saw me try out once. Yeah. That was, who else was over there? Like Chris Ball.
They were trash at that time.
Yeah, Mikey Gamboa was there.
They were as good as now at that time.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't the UP like now. That was their low points, but that was an option too. And then of course after seeing Ateneo campus compared to like UP, I was just like, Ateneo feels a little bit more like home to me. It felt a little more natural. So I just decided to go to Ateneo.
Man, that's great. That's crazy. You got a question, Nick?
Chris, what was your expectation coming into Ateneo? I mean, did you have any idea about the collegiate basketball situation here in the country?
No, I didn't have any idea until I was telling CD my first Ateneo LaSalle game. And that's whenever it kind of like, it really hit me all at once. You know, it just rushed and was like, this could be, you know, something that you could be playing in. This is the type of arena that every basketball player dreams about playing in, you know, whenever you have those dreams and you have a packed stadium, you know, it's actually a rare sight whenever you're talking about the States. And then here to see it on that scale, to hear the drums and to hear all the cheers and chants, man, like that was so new.
We got a whole band in every basketball game.
Man.
Yeah, man, and the energy was just completely different and immediately caught my attention. But that's as far as like basketball goes. But as far as culturally, I was definitely shocked. Like I never been to the Philippines, and I didn't really know what to expect. Obviously, we didn't have like the internet wasn't as big at that time. Like we still had the internet, of course, but it's not like you didn't have like everything at the access of your fingertips. Like I couldn't go to an Instagram page that says PBA and I could see like PBA games and highlights and stuff like that, even YouTube, you know. So to do that, I would wake up at like 3 a.m. I would have to find a link. I would have to find some kind of link that was streaming it illegally. So that's how I had to watch PBA games. But as far as culturally, I was kind of isolated in New Mexico for a while. There's not very many Filipinos in New Mexico. So being raised there, like that's also why Tagalog wasn't really influenced on me, because there wasn't a lot of Filipinos for my mom to talk to or speak Filipino to. So even she lost it a bit over time. She actually moved whenever she was like 5 or 6 years old. So she moved from the Philippines to the U.S. So yeah, over time she lost it, and then it was hard for her to pass it down to me as well. And that's just language. But as far as like food and stuff like that, my mom was still keeping us around Filipino culture as far as that goes.
What's your favorite Filipino food?
Man, it varies. It depends on my mood. It depends on what's going on. But when I'm sick, you know, I could always do like some really good lugao or something, or sinigang.
That's nice.
But for the go-to, I could do any type of like adobo, caldereta, or anything like that.
Sure.
So yeah, that's, I guess the biggest adjustment was like having to commute. That was fun.
You experience how to commute?
Yeah. When I first came to Ateneo, I was 21 years old at the time, and my parents weren't staying here, so I was all alone. And so this is my first time trying to commute from Eastwood. I lived in Eastwood at the time. And so yeah, I would have to get a taxi every day. I would have to take trikes. I would there was times whenever, this is when C5 had the U-turns and everything. We didn't have Grab, we didn't have Angkas or nothing like that.
So, all that,
it was a lot different commuting. The commuting experience was a lot different.
How about jeepneys? Have you ridden a jeepney before?
Definitely. You know how long Katipunan is. You definitely have to take a jeep.
You really can't walk it, you know.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a great experience. I loved it.
Could you imagine seeing Chris Newsome in a Jeep? Like,
Yeah, that's fun. I
that
mean,
would
it's
be,
funny, but at the same time, it's like that's what made it so real to me too. Is like, you know what, I'm actually doing this just like everyone else,
yeah,
and
that's great.
it was a great experience.
That's awesome.
I wouldn't change it for the world.
Yeah. Chris, when you first came to Ateneo, you completed a 2-year eligibility years, right?
Yeah.
And they have this very big guy playing for them, Greg Slaughter. What
Yeah.
was your relationship with Greg when you first came into Ateneo?
Hang on, Chris. I know I read something that you said he's a mentor to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that all
So
about, yeah?
of course, Greg was there. He was there before. Kirk Long was there before. Those were the only two guys that were somewhat like American. Well, Kirk is American, but you know, they understood where I came from, as compared to everyone else. Like maybe everyone else had like family in the States, so you know they can kind of relate to that extent, but they couldn't actually relate as far as the culture and you know, just the difference or how to adjust from the US to here. And Greg was one of those guys that was able to kind of break things down, say, okay, this is this, and this is how you do this. And to just kind of show me the ins and outs of what's going on as far as not just the basketball program, but how to go about school, how to go about things outside of basketball. He lived in Eastwood too, so we would commute together a lot. So imagine Greg getting in a Jeep. If you're saying me, imagine Greg, you know. So yeah, like he definitely was a good mentor for me as far as getting me started and getting me off on the right foot. And I think like having those guys there for me was really crucial because it at least showed me that there was people that have gone through it before, or there's people that were in my position and know how to go about it, rather than there being absolutely no one, and then you're kind of left alone to figure it out and fend for yourself. So yeah, definitely have to give credit to those guys.
Yeah, I got another guy for you, Kiefer Ravenna.
Yeah.
I know you're very familiar with this guy. Actually, I want to ask you something. So you're in a band. You're not just a basketball player, but you're a drummer too.
Yeah.
I saw you post this.
That's so funny.
Yeah. So what's the story about this one? Is this legit band? I mean, are you guys taking gigs now?
What? Nah. Okay. So what this was is they wanted to have. Well, Ateneo has athletes night every year, right? And so what we wanted to do is actually have athletes band. And so what we did for athletes night is me and Kiefer, we got together and we're like, dude, we could actually do this, right? And so we knew Keith could be on the guitar, and we knew he could sing a bit, and we were just like, okay, we got to find like a backup guitar and a bass player. So then we asked other people, other athletes, if they had any like band or playing experience, and we were able to find one was from judo, and the other was a football player, Ateneo women's football player.
Nice.
And then so we created our band, and our band name. Guess what our band name was? It was pretty funny. There's a hint in this picture, but we actually came up with our band name in this room, and we titled ourselves Blue Foam because of that blue foam on the back.
Blue Foam.
That's so random, man.
Yeah, so the name of this band was Blue Foam, and we played 2 gigs, an athletes night. We did one in the auditorium, and then we did another open gig on the stage afterwards. So it was really fun experience.
I just want to ask Chris, how is Kiefer as a singer? I just want to ask, how is he as a singer?
But is he really good at it?
Yeah.
I mean, let's just say he's a better basketball player.
You'd rather see him take that ball.
But you know, the thing I love about Kiefer is he's so humble in the sense that he has the humility to know that, you know, he's not the best at everything, and he's just trying, and he likes to enjoy himself, and he likes to try new things, just like I like to try new things. So I think that's where we saw eye to eye on a lot of things, and we were actually able to come up with this band, and it was pretty fun.
Yeah, it looks really awesome. But I want to ask your relationship with him on court. I mean, how did he help you adjust in terms of basketball wise? Because Western basketball is very different here
very
to
different
Filipino basketball.
Yeah, it's definitely an adjustment. But when I first came here, actually, Kiefer was still in high school, right? And so I heard of him as, this is the phenom, this is the upcoming kid that's in high school. He already has a Nike deal,
he's like the young Kobe
this
Bryant.
and that. Yeah, he's like the young
that's the
Kobe.
way they're comparing him.
And I looked over and I was just like, what, this guy? Like, okay, like that's cool. Good for him. And then he didn't know he was actually going to Ateneo. He was still in high school. Yeah. I mean, everyone kind of assumed already, but so whenever I transferred and I decided to make the transfer, and then he was coming there, and then we showed up together. We're like, dude, we're finally teammates. That's cool. And then so we were like, all right, let's go. And we actually played 1-on-1 once.
Yeah, that's what I want to ask.
I don't know. I don't remember who won. I don't know. That was so long ago. I don't remember who won.
Oh, come on.
But no, I really don't remember, because like this was that long ago. But whenever we were in practice, we were always we're just competitors. I think that Kiefer loves to compete, and I love to compete. So we always wanted to compete and get each other better, and we expected each other to bring their best all the time. And he knew he could get that from me, and so he knew that he had to find ways to motivate the other players, not necessarily motivate me. So with me, he could talk like, hey, we got to do this, this, and this. And then with these players, it's like, hey, we got to get these players involved. Come on, pick it up. So it was more like we had a mutual understanding of how to communicate with each other, because I think we both knew that the basketball IQ and the or not just the athletic ability, but the abilities were always there for both of us. And then it was just a matter of how can we work together? How can we put it together? And that's the great thing I loved about working with Kiefer. He's one of the smartest players I ever played with when you're talking about the game of basketball. And so I think that playing with him, it made it a lot easier. It was just tough that we didn't have enough pieces as compared to, the 5P team or the team after I left. They got Ange in there, they had EK in there, and we didn't have an import during my time. So we definitely had to find and get creative with how we were winning, and we were still able to get a number 1 seed going into my last year.
Yeah.
So being able to do that without an import, and everyone else had that import advantage, that actually said a lot about our team. And we actually just fell short in the playoffs. But overall, as a teammate, Kiefer's he's a great guy. He's a great dude to have on your team. And like I said, he's one of the basketball players. He's one of the smartest basketball players I've ever played with in my life. So, yeah.
Well, you certainly showed your talent during your time. I mean, final year 2014, mythical team, man. And I guess number 1 seed, but let's not talk about that one, though. We don't have to go into this.
We don't have to go that far.
Yeah. Go on, Mig. Talk to us about the draft, man.
Well, in 2015, you were picked by the Mirago Bulls at 4th. But Chris, before that, I just want to ask you, did you ever think of taking your talents overseas, playing in the pros overseas? Or were your mind just set straight on PBA?
Yeah, so I had the focus, honestly, that I wanted to come to the PBA just because it was part of my heritage. It was something that I did hear about, and I was saying, if I'm going to play overseas somewhere, I want to play where, I have some type of connection. Where, I'm connected to the culture, whether I like it or not. Just because I'm Filipino, my mom's Filipina. So that right there is enough motivation for me to say like, hey, this is part of my culture, my heritage. I'd love to play. It's similar to playing for Gilas, it's like, it's an honor for me to to be able to represent the Philippines. I did consider playing elsewhere, but I also understood that with that wasn't going to come the same feeling as far as like having that attachment to it. Like I said, here, it's a different attachment to not just the game, but to the people, to the culture and everything like that. Whereas if I were to go anywhere else, then it would be strictly almost like a business trip. Like you're going there, you take care of business, and then you move on to the next one. So I think with that, I understood the reality of what overseas basketball players have to go through. I had a couple teammates that have already been overseas. And at that point, it was just a matter of, can I secure the passport? Can I secure my Filipino passport and try to suit up for Gilas? At the time, it was an option. So that's exactly what pulled me over to come play in the Philippines long term, is that, you could potentially play for the national team. You could potentially do a lot more than just play in a league, So I think that's what was more enticing for me as far as that goes. Could I have? Definitely. I feel like I could have went a lot of other places, seeing the talent pool now, seeing a lot of my teammates that have made it outside. I definitely feel like I have the capability to play anywhere in the world. But there is no place like here. There is no place like the Philippines. And I definitely feel that this is the best place. And a lot of other players who aren't Filipino, a lot of imports, I'm sure you hear this, they say the Philippines is actually the best place to play basketball outside of the U.S. And then, they say like the experience here is just, it's unmatched. It doesn't matter if you're playing top league in Europe or in China. Like, the Philippines definitely dominates when you're talking about love for the game.
For sure.
Actually, I agree with what you said regarding that connection. Because when you play basketball here, the connection with other people, it's very different. You don't know other people, but when you play basketball, it feels like you've known him for a long time now, right?
Just the fact that it's so ingrained in the culture that something I enjoy doing is, like, I could literally walk down the street and there's people playing. There's people that are in chanelas or even barefoot. They're hooping and stuff like that. And I could literally just go in and I could start playing with them. I don't have to I don't have to introduce myself. Is it okay, la? No. It's like, come on, come shoot.
I want to play.
You can play.
The fact that you're Chris Newsome, of course you can go and play. Of course you can play.
But that's also what I'm saying too about the culture, that I don't have to be Chris Newsome to play. Like, you could be anyone. You could be anybody, and they'll invite you to play. It's like, that's what the thing I love about it. It's just unmatched. You can't find that anywhere else in the world. Everywhere else in the world, it's football, right?
Yeah, football or any other sports. Anyway, well, we're glad to have you here in the Philippines, but I want to talk about that draft night. But before that draft night, what's the other team that you tried out on, or you had the training on? Is it just Meralco, or was there any Ginebra? Because I know you say Marco Giwa, so it's Ginebra,
So the only two teams I did a workout for before the draft was Talking Tex and Ginebra.
Not even Meralco?
No, I didn't work out for Morocco because I guess Coach Norman was there already, right? Coach Norman was there. Paolo Trillo was there. He was the manager at Ateneo whenever I first got there. So during my residency, that was the 4-peat, 5-peat years. So I was actually there. They knew who I was. They knew how I played. I was at every single practice, so they knew exactly who I was and what I'm capable of doing. So for them, they weren't really concerned about that. They were more concerned on if I was going to drop to 4. So that's what they were telling me. So during the combine, they said, if for sure you drop to 4, we're going to get you, no question. So now it's like, who's going to pass? I think Rain or Shine was before. We knew
Rain or Shine.
We knew Kia was up there, and then it was just Talking Tex. That was the other MVP team. So it was MVP, and then and then we knew Ginebra had the pick after Moralco. So
Fifth pick, yeah.
yeah, so I told Coach Tim invited me. He said, "Hey, we'd love to have you for a workout." And so I went there,
How was
and
that? How was that?
I was a Ginebra king for a day. It felt pretty cool, you know. Just to get that whole experience and get to see that culture, it was nice. Just to see how they run it, how Coach Tim runs his programs, his practices, and things like that. It was great to see. And then, of course, me and Coach Tim had a real talk as well. He pulled me aside. He says, "Honestly, Newsome, we don't think you're going to drop to 5, but we'd love to have you if ever that does happen." But he's like, "But you also know how it goes, so we just wish you the best." And I was like, "Thank you, Coach. I appreciate it, and thank you for inviting me." And yeah, I told him, I was like, "We'll see you on draft day. We'll see how it goes." And draft day came, and
that's a huge
the rest is history. That's a huge what if.
That's a huge what if. What if Chris Newsome landed to Ginebra at that time, man?
Actually, I think in my opinion, the bigger what if is what if I went to Rain or Shine at 3.
Oh yeah, 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, because at that time, who they got? Jeff Chan.
Maverick.
But they still have Paul Lee. No, on the roster.
No. That was. Oh,
no, at that roster.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
They still have it.
Yeah,
they still have Paul Lee.
They got a lot of talented guards. So I would, yeah. You know what? That now that you mentioned, yeah, that would be interesting.
But that was the last. That was the last time Rain or Shine won a championship. Was that year?
Yeah.
Yeah, that year, 2016.
So
man, that would be crazy.
Yeah.
So how was that draft night for you? I mean, I know
amazing.
you were already given an assurance that you're gonna be drafted, but was there anxiety? Was there jitters? How was that being?
Of course, man. Of
backstage
course,
waiting for your name. I mean, 3 guys have already been picked, and you are still sitting there. So, what was going through your mind at that time?
Of course, nothing's guaranteed. Whenever you're sitting there, nothing is guaranteed until your name gets called. So the whole build up is just crazy. You go into the Robinsons and you see all the people there, and you know how it goes up, right? The mall. And so you're looking up, and you're just
all eyes are on you. You know?
Yeah. And then just seeing all the colleagues, all like the Kuyas, all the people that you look up to, and you've always watched, and they're there. You know, they're there on draft night, and you know that you're gonna be part of them at some point. You just don't know where. So at that point, you're just anxious. You're like, come on, like I just want to know which team I'm on already. But of course, you have to go through the whole ceremony. You have to go through all the speeches and things like that. And then they finally start calling the names. So yeah, like the first 2, I knew it was for sure going to Mo and Troy, because bigs are very hard to come by.
Yeah.
So I was honestly anticipating 3. And whenever Rain or Shine called Maverick, I looked straight over at Coach Norman. I gave them eye contact. Like they were like, the number 3 pick is Maverick Misi, and I looked like this, and then Coach Norman's like, so I kind of so I kind of knew at that moment. They were like, we're gonna get you, and I was just like, cool, that's great to know. So then after Maverick got interviewed, then the 4th pick came up, and I was just like, please, like they already gave me the confirmation, but you know, I just need to hear my name.
Official, yeah.
Yeah, so they called my name, and then you know, instantly I was able to take that sigh of relief. Like finally, I was able to put the jacket on, see my teammates come up on the stage and help me receive my jacket, and it was just a big moment for me, and I'll never forget that feeling. That's literally when my life changed, and like it was different because I guess my family wasn't here to see it. My sister was here; she was attending Ateneo, so she was the only representative from my family that was here. So that made it special to at least have her there. But I know everybody else was watching, so I just was excited to go. I was excited to. I was like, "Can I sign now? Like, or do we have to? Do we have to actually? Yeah, or do we have to like do it all formally?" But of course, I understood. And again, seeing Coach Norman and Paolo Boss Paulo, that definitely helped me be a little more comfortable stepping into the professional ranks. They were able to like explain everything easy. They already knew who I was. They knew what type of person I am.
Yeah.
They knew like, my character, how to talk to me, all that good stuff. So it just made my transition really, really easy.
Chris, you've played for almost 100 games for the Bulls now. But take us back to that first practice with the team. How was it? How was the experience? Because right now you're gonna be scrimmaging alongside the pros and with Coach Norman there watching you. How was it?
Yeah, and I just want to ask, you had veterans like Jimmy,
Yeah,
like
Yeah.
to add.
Hodge and Dillinger at that
Yeah,
time. So
Jared.
how was that?
Yeah. So I was actually gonna bring that up.
Yeah.
It was actually one of the craziest like sequences of events. I definitely couldn't like write this type of story, but like you remember me telling you that Jimmy was one of the first guys that I met.
Yeah,
JD was one of the first guys I met at Talking Text, right? When I first got here.
yeah.
I had no idea really about the PBA and like the players and stuff like that. And those were the first guys that I played or that got to see me. And here we are like 5 years later and now we're
Your
teammates.
teammates.
And that was the craziest thing. And I actually used to talk to Jimmy all the time when he was at Talking Text and I was at Ateneo because they would practice before us. And so I would come early and I would literally sit my bag down next to Jimmy and just pick his brain and ask him all kinds of stuff. And this is before his practices. And I would literally sit there, watch him untie his shoes or tie his shoes, whatever's going on. And we would have conversations. And then on draft night, Jimmy was out for FIBA work, I believe. And so he wasn't able to be there on draft night, but he was one of the first people to text me. He's like, "Hey, congrats, teammate." And then I looked and I was just like, "Wait a minute, we are teammates." Like, I forgot he just came out of retirement, and then I was like, "This is so cool." So that kind of added to the whole, that added to the whole thing. And then again, like going to that first day of practice the next day, same thing happened. What I did is like I got my stuff, came into the gym, found where Jimmy was sitting, and I put my stuff right next to him. And like that was my spot every single day. So I wanted him to know that whatever he does, I'm gonna do too, or I'm paying attention to it, or I'm learning, and I'm just there to take in as much knowledge from my veterans as possible. And so having him to be able to bring me in for my first year, like that was a dream come true. That's something that I'll remember for the rest of my life, and that's something that not every basketball player gets. Is a mentor of that caliber to give you, literally hand you the reins of the team. So me and Jimmy were doing 6 a.m. trainings together. I was like, if you got training, I'm there too. If you're doing extra work, I'm there too. And he'll tell you I was on his hip for that whole year. And I learned so much. I grew so much, and I was able to pick up so much about the PBA during that 1 year. We went from having our worst conference, that first conference, so getting all the way to the finals. So when you look at it, that's the full spectrum of growth. Like I felt what it's like to be at the bottom, what it's like to only have one win and to have everything falling apart and things aren't going well, to going all the way to the top and you're in the finals and you're competing for a championship and things are going really well. Now you're trying to make history in another way for your team.
Win it. Yeah.
And trying to win it. So I got to experience all of that, and I got to see how Jimmy handled it as a leader throughout that whole time. And it's something that I frequently look back on, and I take a lot of those cues and I apply them now that I am, the leader of the team. I definitely take a lot of those cues and I'm like, okay, what would Jimmy do in this situation? He'd pull everyone together. He would say like, hey guys, we got to refocus. We got to do this. And I'm like, all right, cool. So let's do it. And I definitely feel like he has had the biggest impact on my PBA career up until this point. Even whenever he was no longer with Morocco, I'll text him. He knows that I'll text him randomly at like 2 a.m. sometimes or 1 a.m. and say like, "Hey, Jimmy, I can't sleep. Never's defense is doing this, this, and this. What do you recommend? How do I get this guy motivated?" Or it's like, or even another one of those guys was Ranadell. Ranadell de Ocampo. He was another one of those guys that taught me a lot, and he was another one of those guys that was at Talking Text too at the time. I forgot.
Yeah.
So I was blessed to be with the teammates that I've had, because it was almost like we've been teammates for a long time. That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
Like we've been teammates for a long time, but now is the time we were officially teammates. But so that first practice was fun. Like I just remember having so much energy as compared to what I have now. As far as like when I enter practice, I have kind of like the veteran mindset. It's like, okay,
take it easy,
take it easy.
Do what's
a little
needed,
bit.
and don't do some extra things.
Yeah.
But I gotta ask though, were you able to play Jimmy one-on-one though?
No, we definitely didn't do like one-on-one, because we were actually always on the same team. Like similar situation is like me and Kiefer, right? Like me and Kiefer never really played one-on-one because we were always on the same team. Like we're always on the starting team, so it was rare that we would always go against each other. But yeah, even then, with that lineup, I was the 3 because we had Basser, so it was more Basser that was guarding Jimmy.
Man, that's great to be under the mentorship of the great, a legend,
legend
in Jimmy. But I gotta ask, what was the rookie hazing to you? What did they do to you? What did the vets do to you at your rookie year? I'm sure it's out. Something happened, right? You gotta give us some story on that one. We want to hear it.
I had to sing. Of course, I had to take a few shots. I had to eat bolot on one of our trips. I mean, that was mostly it. It was mostly like carrying bags and little things like, TV5 needs an interview. Okay, see Newsome, rookie, go. Or if Morocco has an event and it's like, okay, we need a speaker. Oh, rookies go. So that was kind of the thing. Like all the events, the rookies kind of had to attend. And but now that I'm older, now it's like fun. I get to send the younger guys. I'm like, okay, rookies go. So now it's
now you're giving shots, right?
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. So it's all part of it, but it wasn't too bad. I think it wasn't too bad because a lot of players had respect for me as far as like what I was doing on the court at the time. I went straight into being a starter, which it's a lot of responsibility, but as long as you can prove it, as long as you prove your worth and you show that you're actually there for the team, I think they're gonna defend you more than they're gonna try to hurt you. So
they know that they have to protect their franchise player.
Somewhat. I wasn't the franchise player at the time, but they're a little more lenient
at that time. You're the future. Go on, Vic.
Chris, as someone who actually played with Jimmy, because undeniably he is one of the greatest to ever play the game in the PBA, and a lot of fans know that. But as someone who have played alongside Jimmy, I want to ask you, can you distinguish what separates him apart from being one of the greatest PBA player to ever play to the other players who just played?
It's his leadership. It's definitely his leadership. It's not, he's not the tallest. He's not the most skilled. He's not the quickest. It's his leadership. I think whenever you hear his voice and you hear the leadership come out of him, that definitely shows his true size, right? As far as that's where you really see the Mighty Mouse, because what he can do for a team and how he can change the dynamic of a team is what gives him his value. And I think that's what was so important when he stepped into that role for Gilas. And I don't think anybody has been able to match that since. No disrespect to anybody else, but I think that's what Gilas is lacking now is that leader to pull us through certain situations. And in the past, we have had Jimmy for that. And not to say that there won't be another leader like that again, but if the youth and the people that are coming up are watching, then they would understand that those are the qualities of a good leader, and Jimmy is exactly what a point guard or a leader should do and should be in every situation of the game, from on the court to off the court. He's professional all the way through, I just give him so much respect whenever I see that. Like, you can't help but to give the respect when you see somebody that is so professional and demands that through his leadership. So again, that's the quality that I love about Jimmy the most, and it's the quality that I try to replicate the most, because I'm not gonna replicate his transition 3 points from the parking lot. That's not my game. That's definitely Jimmy. That's all him.
Yeah.
But what I can take is his mentality and his leadership, and how he was able to he's able to pull his team together in ways that I've never seen before. He'll find motivation from the randomest place, but he'll find the motivation that will get everybody going. He will find that spark. He'll find that whatever it is that you need at that moment, Jimmy will find it. And
wow.
He will guide you through it throughout the whole way. Even if you're losing by 20, he's the type that'll pull you together and look at you straight in the eye and say, hey, yeah, we're down by 20, but we're not going to die here. We're not going to, we're not just going to lay down, roll over and die. We're going to battle back. We're going to fight back. Doesn't matter how much we're down, like that. And then so at that point, everyone's focus changes. Like, yeah, you're right. You know what? Okay, let's go out. Whereas it could be completely different. It's like, dang, we're down 20. I'm just going to get mine. I'm just going to get my points. I'm just going to focus on me, whatever. And we've seen that with other teams. So that's definitely that's Jimmy Alapag right there. He's the leader. He'll always be the leader. And he'll always be the ultimate professional in my book.
Sounds like you miss him a lot, man.
Man, I mean, I wish Morocco kept him on the coaching staff. I honestly do.
Too bad.
Honestly, I actually do miss him watch him play.
Yeah.
So, Chris, moving forward, your first ever professional game as a Meralco boss, you had 14 points, you had 7 rebounds, and 4 assists. But
and two highlights
you
of
cannot ever forget that highlight play when you jammed that in your face poster on our center. Actually, that was a 3-point play, if I'm not mistaken. That was a 3-point.
Yeah.
But
it was. I'm not sure if I made the free throw. But
you made it.
We got a photo.
I did. Oh, okay.
We were able to pull up a photo on there.
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh, yeah.
Man,
that's so crazy.
That.
Chris, earlier in that game, in the second quarter, you actually tried to pull off a same maneuver, but you were blocked. But when you tried the second time, was there any hesitation from you?
I think that's what got me blocked the first time, is that I hesitated. So I hesitated. I think I looked at who it was, and I was like, "Oh, this is Arwen. He's a defensive player of the year. He's known for getting blocked." So I hesitated, and I kind of just tried to avoid the contact instead of going through it. And it's you can say I learned my lesson. So the first time he got me, and I definitely knew that. If I get the opportunity again, okay, I saw what he was capable of. I saw how he got me. It's like, okay, let me see if this happens again. And then the opportunity came, and I just went for it.
Yeah.
At that time, I was just like, you know what? If you block me again, oh well. But just know that I'm
just a better man.
Not scared. Right? Yeah, I'm not scared. I'm definitely not scared. Especially, you're talking about my first PBA game, trying to make a point, try to establish yourself in this league. It doesn't come without respect. So, in a sense, it's just me showing that, I'm a tough kid. Like I don't fear. I'm not afraid of the moment. I'm not afraid of veterans. If you put LeBron James in front of me, I'm still going to try to compete to the best of my ability. You know, you put Kobe in front of me, I'm still going to compete. That's just how I am. Like, am I going to win? No, but I'm still going to compete. And that's the point, that I just want to show everyone that I'm the ultimate competitor, and that whenever they're up against me, you know, they know that they're going to have their hands full. And that's just you know, gaining your respect as a basketball player. And, you know, it's nothing like, you know, I'm not trying to be like my Yabong or anything like that. It's just
the confidence.
It's just the confidence that has to come with the game. You know, you really have to be confident in your abilities, or else you know, you'll get bullied, you'll get picon, you'll get you know, another player will come in and take your spot if you don't earn it. You know, so yeah, that was my statement piece.
Yeah.
That's how you make a debut.
Yeah.
Duncan, and arguably the best shot blocker in the league at that time, man.
Yeah. And
Spider-Man.
I wish we got the win, but you know,
like I said, don't have to go into details and things like that.
And you know, to be fair, Chris, that actually monumented your place in the PBA. Like, this guy is not just a rookie, but he is Chris Newsome. He just dunked on Arvin Santos, and you know, I just want to mention this, but Arvin actually was surprised. You know, in an interview, he never thought that you could sink that jam in front of him, but you know, I think you earned his respect after that dunk.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a very common thing for guards at the time, especially like to have high flying guards. Normally, you have like your bigs that are your high flyers, or I would say it would be the four man that are normally your athletic, you know, combo type of guards in the PBA. Even when you're talking about like Benji Paras, right? Like, you look at how he's built, and you're looking at like KG Canaleta. You know, he's like a stretch four, but he's built like that.
Yeah.
So it's pretty common to see it from those types of guys. But who is like a super athletic guard in the PBA? There hasn't really been that many. So that's why I feel like he didn't really expect it. But then, yeah, like I think this new generation is more athletic than ever. Like, you're talking about the generation after me. You're talking about like guys like 30. You know, they're more athletic than I've ever seen any.
Man.
Yeah, all of them.
Those guys can jump out of the building.
So
they can
like
fly.
So my question is, who has that mentality? Like we've seen that they're athletic, but who is actually going to have that mentality to bring it into the PBA? And when it comes to getting face to face with somebody in the air, who is actually going to be able to do it? You know, that's a different mentality.
Right now in the league, I think CJ has it.
Yeah, CJ has it. He definitely has that.
I think that's
Robert.
Robert.
He's not dunking on anyone though.
No, but
Robert Pollock. Like,
he won't go
dunk
face
on
to
you,
face.
but he'll go up on you.
Yeah, he'll try to.
He'll attack you. You know.
Yeah, he'll attack you, but he won't try to like.
Dunking, I think it's just CJ.
Maybe Japeth, but even Japeth, he shies away from like challenging people in the air.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
he has a couple of posters, but we see him shoot that ball outside of the paint too much. You know. Like, I love Japeth, but he just does it too much.
But even then, he's another example of that athletic four.
Yeah.
You know, so, but yeah, but I think within the next 4 years, the guard position is just going to get really athletic in the PBA.
Yeah, I agree.
No doubt.
Because the kids in high school right now, what they're doing is just unbelievable. Like,
they don't play like they're in high school, man.
Yeah.
They don't.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So, moving forward, you already said it earlier, Philippine Cup, it wasn't the best. I mean, 1-10, rough. But Commissioner's Cup, you guys tied for the first seed, 8-3 with San Miguel. You guys number 2 seed. And how were you able to adjust that quick especially you as a rookie. That was I think that's for your first time losing that much of a game in a tournament. So how were you
Yeah,
able to adjust with it? And because on your second conference, another guy that stepped up is Baser Amer.
Yeah.
So
right.
your co-rookie, how did you two adjust? I mean, did you sit him down and said, "Hey man, we have to make some noise. We have to do this and that."
No, so what actually happened is that Becerra actually joined me and Jimmy after a while.
Mm.
Yeah,
So like Becerra really started working out with me and Jimmy, and and it was the two of us that were always around Jimmy during that first year. And so that being said, it was hard for him because he's coming in behind Jimmy,
yeah,
so
that's a
he
huge
he
shoes to fill.
he felt like that was a lot for him at the time. But then as the season went on, he was able to shake off that Becerra, he's like shy. He's very
Yeah,
quiet, So he was able to, shake it off and kind of say like, okay, yeah, I am here. This is my game. This is how I play. And he was able to prove that. He was able to show that because everyone was giving him the confidence. Everyone was like, hey, Becerra, don't be scared to shoot. You're good. You can shoot it. You can play your game. Like you know how to play. So once everyone started giving him the confidence, he started feeling a lot more comfortable out there.
Mhm.
Started to and it started to show in his game. But I think with Becerra, he's got the championship experience.
yeah,
He
Yeah.
won some
yeah.
championships over at
He
St.
has.
Beda.
Hmm.
It was just a matter of getting him comfortable at the PBA level. Like not to be intimidated by his kuyas. Because you can see sometimes whenever he's going up against like say like Kuya LA or something, he's all nice. He wants to be nice,
Yeah.
like hey Kuya LA. It's like no, but sir, say that after the game. Like we
Because
gotta
yeah,
play
come
first.
on,
Yeah,
you
we gotta
cannot
play
back
first.
them
Come on.
in game. Come on, man.
Yeah. So like he would be like that at first, and then as the season went on, but he started to understand like, oh yeah, okay, we really have to play. Like let's play first, and then we can be friends, and we can be cool after like that. So that was like developing the culture of, I guess, business from personal and like family life or off the court stuff. So
Yeah,
Becerra found out that once he's on the court, it's all business. And then,
Yeah.
when you're off the court, you can still be friends. You can still do that. So I think that was the adjustment period for him. Whereas me, I kind of knew that off the top. For me, every time I step on the court, it was just automatic, like, let's go. So you didn't really have to pull that out of me as much as you did Becerra, but he found it. He was able to help. But then I also think the biggest help for us was the import.
the import.
Um,
I
like
forgot
that
who
was
was
that
the
was
import at that time.
Renze Onawaku.
Oh yeah, Onawaku. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
that
good
definitely
player.
helped because all Filipino. Obviously, we don't have the biggest lineup at Morocco, and you're competing against like June Mars and Greg's, and it's
Yep.
just really tough in all Filipino, especially for a young team. Well, we have a young team mixed with old players as well,
Yeah.
so that was very hard to kind of do and have that chemistry right away for all Filipino. But I think the veterans were able to mix well once the import came,
Hmm.
because then we had a point of focus. We were like, okay, this is going to be the guy. This is where we're going to run through, and this is how we support him. And that's where Jimmy came in and was like, okay, now we all have our support roles. The main option is the import, and from that point, Jimmy's done it countless of times with playing with imports, naturalized players, so he knows how to get the team to
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of fill into that support role for the import. And then that's where we all just filled our roles, and and we just trusted each other, and we just did our best. But looking back, man, like if I knew everything I knew now, it's like my game has changed so much from then
Yep.
to now. Like if I had the experience now, obviously I feel like we could have uh, made it to the finals at Commissioner's Cup
Hmm.
also, not just the Governor's Cup, because we lost semis.
Yeah.
I think
Semis.
we
Yeah.
lost. Yeah,
Alaska. Best of
yeah,
five.
yeah.
And
So that was
it was a close series too. I mean,
it went
what
to
can you
five,
remember
right?
about this? What can you remember about this series? I mean, you guys were 2-2, had the game five. You guys lost,
Yeah.
fortunately, but
Um,
you can
Actually,
remember
what I
what happened.
remember I don't even remember a few things, but I just remember that I had 2 crucial turnovers in that game, and I remember Coach Norman was telling me, he's like, "Yeah, we understand you're a rookie, things happen, but we just need you to make sure that you're going to learn from it. Like, just understand that you are young. We do understand that things will happen, but you also got to realize that with that comes a big responsibility that you got to be able to make sure that's not going to happen again, or that you really are going to learn from it." And that's where I was able to grow a lot too, because of course, like, if I don't turn the ball over, I don't make those 2 turnovers, we're in the finals, and it's a whole different scenario.
It was just a 6-point game, game 5.
It was. I do remember now. It was Cyrus Baggio had a good steal on me, and that just showed, like, that's experience against the lack of experience during that time. But overall, like, all these things that happened to me, it only makes me stronger. It's only meant to help me learn from it and build onto it. So that's how that series was.
We all know how all those things build you right now. But here on our next topic, Chris, I don't want to do this to you, but we kind of have to.
Of course, I'm with it.
I'm a big fan of Ginebra, but Mig, you go ahead.
Well, actually, Chris, before that, I want to ask you something, and about you were talking about responsibility a while ago, and coming to that finals, you were a part of their. I think you were a part of their starting 5, right? You were a part of their starting 5. So, how was the experience, heading to the finals, being a part of their vital players in their rapid turnaround success? I mean, in the Philippine Cup, you were 110, and then in the Commissioner's Cup, you were 8-3. You were the 2nd seed, and then in the Governor's Cup, you guys were in the finals. So, how was that experience for you? How was that development?
It was like it was a great roller coaster. Like, I mean, just to go from the bottom and then finally get all the way to the finals, it was just, it almost seemed unreal. But like we were talking about, how you just learn throughout the whole process. It's tough to say that like, if you win, for example, say you win, things are kind of completely different in the sense that sometimes you can fall into complacency if things always work out the way that you want them to. So I look at it as, like, say we go, we get 2nd place in all Filipino, then in my eyes, like, it might be different, that I'm like, okay, maybe I am good enough already. Maybe I am doing all the right things, but that wasn't the case. So it was like, hey, you only won 1 game. You have a lot of work ahead of you. And that was the mindset that I had, and that's whenever I guess that mental shift happened for me, and it was more about the process. That's whenever it really became about the process, because it was like, you're not going to become a PBA all-star or superstar or whatever overnight. It's going to take consecutive games. It's going to take consistency. And actually, that's one of the big things that Coach Norman preaches to me is consistency.
Yeah.
He's like, real players, or real people that stand out, are the ones that are consistent over a long period of time. Those are the ones that make a name for themselves in this league.
Yeah.
Because you can have one good conference, but if you're not consistent, then that's just one good conference.
Yeah.
Not.
Yeah.
We cannot deny that your progress ever since your debut game has been rapid, and as CD said a while ago, we wouldn't want to do this to you, but we have to, because this is a part of your progress. This was a part of your development as a player. So 2016 Governors Cup, your first ever finals appearance. But Chris, I want to ask, were you aware that Ginebra were actually hungry to break their 8-year curse. 8-year
You know that they
cancer.
Yeah.
were having a drought.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. Ginebra is Ginebra, and I think whenever it comes to them actually having a hot streak and winning,
Mm-hmm.
uh, it has like the same effect as if Pacquiao had a fight, you know? Like,
Yeah,
They have
yeah,
they have the biggest
you know?
fan base. They
Yeah,
have the
so it's like
biggest fan base.
whenever Ginebra is doing well, everyone knows it, and everyone knows what's going on. Everyone knows when the last time they were in the finals, when's the last time they won a championship. And it's like, oh wait, Morocco's here for the first time. Ah, no one cares. The last time Ginebra was here was this time. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
that's kind of how it was. So I was definitely aware that they had their thing going on. But of course, like I can really only focus on myself
Mm-hmm.
and the story that we're trying to write. But that being said, I felt like I was telling CD earlier about my Mark Aguila story and how
Yep.
Mark Aguila, a Mark Aguila jersey was the first ever jersey
You ever
I
got?
had from the PBA, and
Yeah.
so to go into the finals, and I'm going against Ginebra, and then at media day, I'm looking right across the table, and there's Mark Aguila, and I'm just like, this is the craziest thing ever. Like,
Yeah.
I couldn't write that in a book for reals. So, anyways, it was just cool. It was like really nice to actually make it to the finals. First off, getting
Mm-hmm.
through talking text, that was tough. And again, that was another emotionally uh, like draining one for me because Talking Text was the team that I looked up to whenever I first
Yeah.
got here. So
Mm-hmm.
those were all the players all the coaches that were helping me come into the Philippines and recruiting me here. Josh Reyes was over there,
Yeah.
so a lot of my Ateneo coaches are over there, and just like a lot of the guys I looked up to were over at Talking Text. So we had to go through them first. So after beating them, that was nice because it's like, well, yeah, I was here. I'm really close with you guys, and I was able to beat you guys. Cool. On to the next. So we get to the finals, and of course, when you hear it's Ginebra, you just already know you already know where you're kind of getting yourself into with the crowd, with just all the hype and all the media attention and things like that. So that was to be expected. But of course, the build up, there's nothing that during the whole build up, there's nothing in there that can equate to what it's like to actually step on the court for the first time and you see everyone. You can talk about it, you can say this and that, and the crowd's going to be this and that, but then it's not until they do the first finals appearance for
The
the Morocco
introduction,
Bulls.
yeah, the introduction.
Yeah, number 11, Chris Newsome, and then boo, everyone's like booing. So
Man,
there's a great feeling, like despite like what it is. It's like being away. You're Lakers
yeah,
Boston. It's like Lakers being in Boston. You're gonna get
Yeah.
booed no matter what. So it was just an awesome feeling, and just looking around, packed stadium, kind of gave me that glimpse of the Ateneo LaSalle again, but
yeah, it
on
has
a
that vibe.
much different level. Now you're talking about the highest level in the Philippines, and again, it was like a dream come true. And I just remember I was standing next to Jimmy because, like, no lie, I was on Jimmy's hip all the time. So I was standing next to Jimmy during the national anthem, and he saw me. I was like looking around like with my eyes, and he just looked at me, smiled, and he's like, "Enjoy the moment, Rook. Enjoy it." And I was just like, "Yeah, I got you, Cat." So that was the time that I actually was able to take it all in and kind of cherish being there. Uh, of course, we had the game too, but Jimmy helped me put in perspective that you really got to take in the moment. Sometimes you can't block the moment, because then whenever you look back, you're gonna say, "I wish I did, and I wish I did that." But yeah, I can say I actually felt that moment, and it was me feeling that moment that was able to kind of carry me through every other big situation that came after that.
Yeah, well, it certainly carried you through because game one, you guys took game one in
Yeah,
overtime. Yeah,
that
so
was
you
a
guys have
crazy
won an
one.
0 lead. You guys even had a 2-1 lead in that series.
Two,
But
yeah.
you know, how was that? Did you guys feel like you got caught in a overconfidence at that time when you had a 2-1 lead? Do you feel like you were
No, not
comfortable?
at
Like
all.
you getting
Not
too
at all.
comfortable?
No, like I remember that clearly. We weren't comfortable, and we weren't overconfident because we knew exactly what could
Yeah.
happen if you're not careful. But what happened is in game three, was that game three? Game four.
Game
Yeah.
4.
It was game four. That's when Mark and JJ came in, right?
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah. So
That's that
that's
crazy throwback performance from those two.
that
They took
that
it by
happened. And that happened that was the second group, right? That was like our second
Yeah.
lineup in.
Mhm.
So I was on the bench during that whole time that they were coming back. And it was at that point that I said, you know what, if they win this game, we're in trouble.
Mhm.
And sure enough, they were able to battle out. They won that game. Series was tied.
By
And
2.
and then it was just like
86.
at that point it was like, well, now they got all the fans behind them. They got their veterans involved. They got everyone that's feeling really good right now, and it's hard to stop that momentum. So it was a matter of whether or not we could handle that momentum. And I think we were still young at that point, as far as me, as far as Becerre, as far as our team chemistry. We were still very young. That was the first year we played with AD, but we were still able to put together a really good performance. And I think if you ask me, that was probably the best series out of all three. Was that first series? It was definitely the best one.
Here's what we were talking about earlier, right? Becerre was too nice. I just thought that Becerre was too nice in that series to LA. And I'm like, if they're gonna win this, Becerre needs to,
exactly.
You gotta step up against LA.
Yeah.
But let's fast forward to Game 6. About under 30 seconds, I think. You had the ball, and I think you gave it to Jared. Then he gave it to Durham, and then he missed that layup. When he missed it, you knew that they're going to be able to score on the other end with how hot Justin got in that series, in that game particularly.
Yeah, we knew like that. We obviously wanted to take the last shot. Actually, that was what was supposed to happen. We were supposed to take the last shot. If we miss, foul right away. All right, we were supposed to foul right away so they get a side out. Even the possession that Brownlee made the shot, we were actually supposed to foul, but we didn't. Like he took that 1-2 dribbles, and before we can get a foul off, because obviously you don't want to foul on the shot too. So once he got that shot off, it was just too late.
Where were you at on the court when he took that?
I was on the baseline. I think I was guarding Scotty in the corner. Like but then I just remember like seeing the ball go through, and I was just like, nah.
Did you see the whole arena when the crowd started lighting up their phones? How was that experience? I mean, I know you're playing against Ginebra, but seeing that, how was that?
Coming out of the timeout, that's the only time I actually saw it. And then after that, like everything just kind of goes blank around you. And you just focus on the moment. But coming out of the timeout, when you see everybody had their phones on and everything, I was like, wow, this is cool, But I didn't want it to go down like that. But, that's just how it goes. It was a great shot. Like I've seen it, more than a lot of people. And it was just a great shot, man. Like it was a great basketball play. And everything about it was set up perfectly.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunate I'm on the other side of that fairy tale. But that's just how it goes sometimes, that's the game of basketball.
Like I said, I'm a big Ginebra fan, so that was really big for me. But also I'm a Chris Newsome fan. So
I appreciate
it hurt as well, but like man, seeing that shot go in and how great that series was, man, that's the perfect ending. 8 years I've been waiting for Ginebra to win.
It was actually
finally. About that time for me. I'm sorry, Chris. We didn't want to do this to you, bro.
It's all good, man.
Chris,
Because
Go on,
it's funny because like I know that there's gonna be that moment for me. I just understand that I was just young in my career, that it's not my time yet, but that moment will come.
It'll come for
Chris,
sure.
I just want to show you something because right after that conference, my friends and I, we went to Boracay. I don't know. I don't know if you still remember. You still remember? Someone approached you and asked you if you're Chris Newsome. Do you remember that? You remember that?
Yeah.
That was actually
You remember
me
that
right
stupid
there.
kid?
What?
That was me. Who would have thought, man? We'll be talking right now. Sorry.
Dude, that's so funny.
Yeah,
It was funny because I was there with
I don't know if
I
you
was.
can clearly. This was me.
Yeah, I can see.
This is you. This is my friend.
That's so cool.
Who would have thought, man?
Who
We'll
would
be
have
talking
thought?
to each other in
Right?
the next 4 years.
That's so cool, man. I remember because I was actually there with with some of the Ginebra guys too.
Oh, you were there with them. Oh.
Yeah, because
we
right
didn't
after
see
the
them.
finals. Oh, okay. Right after the finals, Brownlee went there also. Sol Mercado went there. I think JD went there.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of like a lot of the people after the finals went there, and we just kind of hung out. So it was pretty cool. That was cool. Go figure.
Yeah, that's cool. I didn't know you
Yeah.
still remember that. No.
Wow, dude, this especially because that was the time that I was like, nah, I don't want to take no pictures. Like we just lost. But at the same time,
It was a great
I'm not.
time.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
not that
that
type
was
of
a
person.
great timing for you, man, because he didn't want to snap that damn picture. Man. All right, man. Well, fast forward after that whole rookie experience for you, rookie of the year, well deserved,
Rookie of the
for
year.
sure. But
Yeah,
now
thank you.
heading into your second season, now you're not a rookie anymore. Now we want you
Right.
to be the man. Now I know it's
Right.
the sophomore year, but I'm sure your team wanted you to step up right away. So, how was that for you? Did you feel a little bit pressured? Because now, hey man, you're not a rook. Now I want you to be the man. Was that any pressure for
Yeah,
you
yeah,
that
yeah.
time?
I don't think there was so much pressure as far as that goes because, like I was saying, Jimmy was kind of grooming me for that. So it was to be expected, and me being the type of person I am, I'm always open to a challenge. So if anything, I invited it, and I was ready for it. And this is when Jimmy was still trying to figure out if he was going to play again or not.
Yeah.
And so we weren't really sure if he was going to come back or not. And then they decided to keep him on the coaching staff. And then that's whenever it was really like, okay, now someone else has to take the reins. Someone else has to lead us while we're out there. And of course, when it comes to that, they go with a lot of times your teammates will go with who's playing well. Who's your most consistent player and who's the one that's playing, because it's not necessarily about your voice at times, especially as a sophomore. You don't really have a voice. So
Yeah.
it's more lead by example in that sense. And so that was just me. My second year was me just going out to prove that I can be that consistent player. And we're talking on both ends of the floor, that I can still stand up to the challenge and defend, the best guy on the other side, as well as continue to put up points for my team. And once I was able to build that consistency in that second year, I think that's whenever everybody else started to respect me as their leader. I wasn't team captain per se, because on paper we had Raynell and Cliff Hodge. Because,
That time, yeah.
yeah. So, but just off of playing capability and just leading by example, the guys really looked at me as that leader. Whenever they needed someone to speak up, a lot of the times the guys would look to me. And again, like I said, I was open to the challenge. It's like, but how many other people would kill for that opportunity, to be able to be able to lead and represent a team, and to have a group of guys trust you so much that they're willing to listen to you and believe you and work for you and work with you. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna take on the challenge. I can always take that back seat later on in my career if I ever feel like it. But I'd never be able to live with myself if I say like, I didn't try. I didn't try to be a good leader, or I didn't try to fill into that role. So I guess that's kind of the mindset that went behind that my second year. And again, I had that talk with Coach Norman, and it was all about consistency. He was preaching that to me that whole year, is just be consistent, be consistent. I had one game where I only had like 4 points, and that's whenever he pulled me into the office and was like, hey, what's going on? How can I help you? What are you seeing? What are you feeling? Or they call it that the sophomore slump, right?
Yeah.
So he was asking me, he's like, are we gonna see a sophomore slump and things like that? And I was like, nah, I think I just had an off night, coach, and their game plan was specifically to stop me, like double team me, trap me, things like that. So it's hard to score points whenever those are your looks. So yeah, he just told me, he's like, I know that's also part of it, is that now that you've established yourself, you're going to have to find other ways to contribute and other ways to still score and get your teammates involved and things like that. And again, that came with the challenge. And he was like, you look at the best guys on every team, and he was pointing out guys like Paul Lee. He was pointing out guys like Stanley Pringle. And
Calvin.
Yeah, you're talking about Calvin and Kabak Knott. And so these are guys that, they're forcing teams to scheme all around them, like Terrence Romeo, right? Like you have to have a whole game plan for Terrence Romeo.
Yep.
And so he said that's exactly what they're going to start doing to you. They're going to start showing you different looks. They're going to start going under screens. They're going to start trapping you, double teaming you, all kinds of different things. So he was like, you got to be ready for it. You got to know what to do, how to adjust, and still be consistent. And, it's hard. Of course, my shooting percentage went down that year because, like I said, the looks that you're getting are much tougher. They're not just like clean looks. But again, that was the challenge, and that was the goal, was for me to get through that, to be able to get through that and establish myself as somebody that can be the consistent guy for Morocco, someone that's always going to be there every game. You can count on me to have at least 10 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists per game.
We all saw your growth, and you turned into the star.
Thank you, man.
Now you're a star, man. So go on, Mig.
Chris, aside from the fact that you became one of Morocco's main guys that year, you also solidified yourself as one of the high flyers in the PBA when you won that 2017 Slam Dunk champion. You were. That was actually a close finals, right? I think it was against James Forrester. You were going up against James Forrester, and
that's right.
You won by 1 point, right?
Yep.
Chris, I want to ask, your winning dunk was that two-hand juggle dunk, right?
Off the backboard.
Yeah, the backboard. Prior to that year, in 2016, you were up against Ray Guevara, again, a notable high flyer, and you did that juggle dunk.
Same trick, yeah.
You did that juggle dunk. But what was the difference in the 2017 slam dunk when you did that? I mean, did you think that such dunk that you did last year would give you the trophy?
Well, okay. So if you ask me personally, I feel like the 2016 dunk contest was my better one.
Yeah.
Like I felt like I had a
no doubt.
It was
no doubt.
crazy dunk off between you and Ray.
Yeah.
I
feel
remember
like
that.
If there was one that I should have won, I feel like
That love pass from the baseline.
From Scotty.
Yeah, that was nice. Yeah.
And you turned around, man.
That was awesome.
Yeah, so that one was fun. Like I honestly, going into my first dunk contest, I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna have fun. I'm gonna make it fun. Like I tried the Pacquiao dunk. With the gloves. That was hard. Yeah. I got that idea from JD because he tried that before in a dunk contest, right? And he wasn't able to do that.
Yeah.
So one of the practices, he was like, dude, you gotta like revenge me. You gotta avenge the dunk that I failed. He's like, yeah. And so the gloves that he gave me, the shorts, everything was his from his original dunk that he did. So it was kind of like a dedication to him. Did that, and then off the side of the backboard, and then the juggling one. Like no one has ever done that. Oh, what's that?
I gotta ask though, did you feel like you got robbed?
I do. Yeah.
A lot of people do. Like, we do.
I feel like I did. I'm still happy for Ray because he was my teammate at the time too.
Yeah.
But that's just me being a competitor. Like I really wanted to win. And that was my rookie year also. So like that would have been cool.
That would have been awesome. Rookie of the year and
yeah, that would have been cool. But wasn't meant to be. And again, like you take your licks and you just move on and learn and get to the next one. So with the next dunk contest, I had good reviews about what I did in the previous dunk contest, and they're like, he's super creative. That's some things that we've never seen. I was like, okay, let me see how many other things. But this year I was like, you know what? I did all of those creative things and didn't even win. So I'm just gonna do regular dunks and let's see if I win. Right. And so I did a windmill. Yeah, like I did a windmill. I did like a 360 from behind the backboard. And then after that, to win it, I did the juggling. And then I guess the difference was instead of me just throwing it up and dunking it, I threw it off the backboard and dunked it with two hands, which that's still tough too. And I was able to win by 1 point, and that was great. But like I said, I definitely feel like with the anticipation that I had for my first year was definitely greater than the second year. And then again, like I went my third year, right? So I had another one that was my third time, and where was that? I was out of town, I remember.
Yeah, out of town. I forgot what. Where is it? Hang on.
Was that Laguna? Batangas?
Hang on.
I want to say it was Batangas.
Trying through.
I think was Batangas. It Iloilo?
No, 2018.
No,
right?
It was when they had it in 3 locations, I think.
Yeah, they had 3 locations at this one.
The skills was in.
In Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao.
Yeah.
Luzon,
so that was my third one, and then this is me defending my title. And what was fun is I just wanted to go back to having fun with the dunk contest and try to do things that no one else has ever done. So that's where I brought out the Nickling dunk. That was fun. I like the crowd and the people really enjoyed that. And then also that's whenever I brought out Coach Benj Paras, and I did the Sorbetes dunk, and those were fun too. Like the crowd really enjoyed it. Everyone really enjoyed it. I got really good feedback about it, but it just wasn't enough points to get me to that second round. So that was it, and that was the last dunk contest I was a part of. I wasn't able to go the year after that.
In the future?
We'll see. I think I could probably do one more, maybe one more. I could give it a good shot, but man, after the last few years, and I was getting creative and doing all kinds of things, and then it's like, I still can't get in. It's like, that kind of gets demoralizing at times, but at the same time, I always say I'm doing it for the fans. I'm definitely do it to try to entertain people, and if I win, I win. If not, I still had fun.
Well, if Malonzo and those athletic guys come into the league, we gotta see you defend. We gotta see you come out there and talk with those guys. We want to see.
Like to. I guess the biggest difference now is I got the miles on my legs now. That's the biggest difference. Now. The young legs aren't there, but with the COVID break, actually, I think that I actually feel like my body has recovered a lot. And so like a lot of those small little aches and pains that you would normally have during the season, I was able to kind of take the therapeutic approach and just kind of work on those slowly, and just without the impact and just getting beat up every day in practice, that definitely saves your body a bit. So I feel rested, and I feel like I can definitely get up there for maybe one more slam dunk contest.
Well, we all know. Oh, go on, Meg. Go on, Meg.
Moving forward to that year in the Governor's Cup, again, we don't want to do this to you, but we have to. So
Yeah.
it was in 2017 Governor's Cup when you guys were out for revenge against Barangay Ginebra, and you lost in 7 games. And in
games now.
in your 3 matchups, that was the closest ever.
Yeah.
7 games. So how was that experience? You guys
You struggled though. You struggled on that series.
Yeah.
You had multiple single-digit point games. What happened in that series? I mean, did you feel like their defense was more focused on you now?
Yeah, that's whenever we saw a different approach from Ginebra as far as their game plan, because actually what was happening is during the regular eliminations, that's where I did really good, and I think I had like a 28-point game against them that earlier that year. And so going into the finals, they already knew. They're like, okay, we got to stop Newsome. So they basically had their game plan on stopping me and making the ball get out of my hands and AD's hands. And so when we would go to the post against AD, they would double team. And then any pick and rolls with me or Brownlee, actually Brownlee was on me, and then it would be one of the guards, and then they would just switch and then try to isolate, or however they did it that way. And so that was a different look. But again, I think what got us through the first couple games, I played pretty well. And then I think it was game 3 that I struggled, and game 5 I struggled.
Yeah.
And then a little bit of game 7. But this was actually the series that I was in foul trouble the most. So my minutes went down this series. My point production went down this series, and a lot of that was because of foul trouble. Were they fouls, in my opinion? I'm not gonna say, but but that definitely, looking back, that definitely played a big role, because if I'm in foul trouble, I can't be as productive. There was times where I had 3 fouls in the first half.
First half.
And then like the second half, I have to be really, very cautious and careful. And but again, like I felt that going into this series, I had no fear. I wasn't scared. It's like, we already lost. What's the worst thing that can happen is we lose again. So it was more of a everything to gain, nothing to lose mentality.
Nothing to lose, yeah.
Yeah. So
it was a tough series as well for Ginebra, because 7 games, you guys were in it the whole time. Like, there wasn't a time where I felt like they're done, but they were down. You guys were down 2-0. You came back, and you just kept fighting. It was a crazy resiliency from you guys.
I think for us, the big key there was JD's injury. JD got injured, and Ranadil got injured as well. Not having those 2 guys. We had them in the semifinals, and that's actually where they both got hurt. And then going into the finals, we were just trying to patch things up, and it just came out shorthanded. We definitely had a chance in game 7. We just got ourselves in a hole, and then again, I got in foul trouble, so I wasn't really out there. I think I only played like maybe 21 minutes, 22 minutes, as compared to like 30
you
plus.
You were limited in game 7.
Yeah, so that was not fun. I think that's probably my biggest pet peeve, is when refs take you out the game and it's not even you.
Oh, you weren't even doing it, it wasn't even in your hands. The loss wasn't even your leg. Started in the past. We all know what happened.
Yep.
However, one interesting on that series was that it was the first time that you faced Greg Slaughter in the finals.
Yeah,
right?
It was.
Because he was injured the year prior. You guys.
The year before that. That's right.
Ginebra. So how was that? Now you're taking on your mentor, as you said earlier.
Greg's been through a lot. He had to go through a lot, and of course, being over at Ginebra, you're expected to do a lot as well. So seeing that everything that he's had to go through and to see him get his championship, I was happy for him. I'm definitely happy for him. I'm always happy for my friends, even if you're like my opponent. I'm still happy to see you. I'm a good sport in that sense that I understand what it is. And
were you talking to him on court at that time?
We rarely talk on court, honestly, because like we know that it's not going to do anything for neither of us. Like he could say something to me, but it won't get under my skin, and I could say something to him, and it won't get under his skin. It's just like, yeah, whatever, and then we just keep playing. And I think I feel like a lot of players have felt that with me, because even like guys like Calvin, right? That's one of his things, is try to get under your skin. But I think once he finds out that he can't get under your skin, then they kind of leave you alone. Yeah, they just stop.
He looks for other guys to put that.
Yeah, exactly. So with Greg, we never really talked on the court or anything like that, but I was definitely happy for him, and I was happy for all the guys over there. And it takes a while to kind of settle down and like let the emotions kind of drain, but then once you let it go, then you can kind of reflect on it, laugh about it, But at the end of the day, they're always going to be able to be like, oh, yeah, we're 3-0 against you guys. It's like, whatever.
Well, it is what it is.
It is what it is. Yeah.
Shout out to Greg, by the way. Hope you're doing good.
Yeah.
So
Chris, the following season, the following Governor's Cup in 2018, you guys were again against Ginebra, and you lost 4-1. That was the farthest in the season. But I just want to highlight, you averaged 18 points and 5 rebounds per game. That's your personal best in all of your 3 finals against Ginebra. So I want to ask you, what happened? What did you do to improve that much?
I mean, I think this goes back to that consistency that we were talking about. After the first 2 finals, I went back and I watched the film. I analyzed. I saw what they were doing defensively as far as how they guarded me. And then I analyzed what shots I'm going to be able to get off and where I'm going to get my looks and how I can get there. And I just kind of reverse engineered it. And kind of like I was saying, like, I had nothing to lose, honestly. I lost to him twice now. It's like, what's the worst that could happen? You lose again, and then, like, you've already felt like what it's like to lose by a buzzer beater. You already felt like what it's like to lose in a game 7. So it's like you've basically experienced every type of loss that you can possibly have at that point. So in my head, it's like, you know what, it can't get any worse or anything like that. So you're better off just leaving it on the floor, go play, and just do your best. Yeah, just do your thing. So, I think what I was able to show this year in the finals is that I'm capable of performing at a high level. And regardless of how you game plan for me, I just want to be able to show you that I will be a problem or I will cause you problems no matter what.
And you did.
And yeah, and that, so that's what was so nice as far as on my end, is that I was able to show that, kind of similar to like Kobe's mentality, how he embraced being the villain. At this point, after 2 finals, it's like, okay, yeah, I've already embraced that I am the bad guy. I am the opponent. I am all this. And it's like, now it's just go out there and play. And honestly, the 3rd finals was the most fun I had as far as play. Like, that was whenever I felt like there was the least amount of pressure. And like, I was really out there just playing my game. And I actually had fun out there this time around. Like, I can really say that even though we lost 4-1, I really enjoyed those games because like personally, like we were saying, I was in my best.
That was your best series in the final.
Yeah, I was able to showcase all facets of my game, from mid-range to breaking down the defense to 3 points. I was actually, this was the series that I shot the most 3 points, even attempts and conversions as well. And I think overall percentage, it was my best performance from the 3-point line.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the series that I actually was able to see my own personal growth. And I guess the confirmation of that was having Stan Pringle come up to me and be like, dude, like, right now you're impossible to guard. Yeah. And Brownlee even came up to me and after he came up, he was like, what you showed, man, you're capable of doing so many great things. It's just not your time right now. He's like, but keep going, keep learning, keep growing. Like, you can already see that you've grown so much. And Brownlee, literally, he was telling me, he's like, you know what, your time's gonna come, your championships are gonna come. He's like, just stay focused on getting better. And he's like, I already see it in you. I see it. And he even invited me to work out with him. He's like, you know, we'll get a workout in one of these days. And I was like, I'd love that, man. So, and even Coach Tim, he was telling me, he was like, Newsome, you've exceeded my expectations as a player. And I was just like, thank you, Coach. And then it's just like, I'm fortunate that I always come out on the losing end, but you know, having the respect, having to gain the respect from those players, or even the players I look up to, the coaches I look up to, and that lets me know that at least I'm not going unnoticed, despite, you know, the record saying otherwise, the championship saying otherwise. You know, they understand that my talent is there. That's all I can ask for as a player, you know. Like,
I'm sure they know what's up. You know,
yeah,
they know what you're all about.
You know, I kind of look at it, it's almost like T-Mac's story. You know, T-Mac doesn't have a ring, but everyone knows that he can hoop.
Yeah.
You know, like Charles Barkley doesn't have a ring, but everyone knows that he got to the finals and he could hoop. You know, so sometimes it works that way.
I don't think you end up that way.
Oh, definitely not.
I think a title is on your way.
Chris, how much big of an impact did you know, Justin Brownlee, Stan Pringle, and Coach Tim did when they talked to you? How much big of an impact did that do on you?
It's huge. I mean, these are some of the best. These are some of the best people to ever do it as far as the PBA goes. You got Stanley, who's put up 50 plus in a PBA game before.
Yeah.
You know, and that says a lot. And for me, Brownlee is he is that how do you put this? Kind of similar to Jimmy in that case, in the case that he's that ultimate professional that I looked at. I look at Brownlee that same way. He's that ultimate professional when it came to playing on the court. Not just because he could score, but because he made his teammates better. He made his teammates better, and he was consistent. You know, like you knew that if you left him open for a 3-point shot, you know, 8 times out of 10 it's going in. You know, and then you start thinking every time he puts up a shot, it's going in. And whenever you see that, and then you kind of trace it back to his work ethic and the things that he practices. And, you know, it's all there. I've seen it. I've seen him practice. I've seen the stuff he works on. And that's actually what motivates me to be consistent with my practice. Because I've seen his routine. I've seen Jimmy's routine, and I see how consistent they were. And that's what got me to, you know, win or lose, I'm going to come to the gym the next day and I'm going to get better. I'm going to make sure that I get my 100-something shots in, and I'm going to get better. Because, you know, if we win, you got to get better to defend it. If you lose, you got to get better to try to go get it. So the process ends up being the same. And once I understood that, that's whenever I feel like my game started taking off to a whole new level. I started doing workouts before games, and that actually helped me. And Brownlee was one of those people that kind of encouraged me to do that. And Stanley also, I used to see Stan doing his workouts in Morrow before his games when he was when he was at Northport. And so then I started doing that myself. I started going to the gym, getting my workout in, my extra shots up before I even go to the game. So by the time I show up to the game, I got 250 makes in. And what that does for your confidence when you get to the game, it's like, you know, you've shot 250 you've already made 250 shots, and then you go into the game and you're only going to put up 15 shots, maybe 20 shots. So it's like when you get to that point, then you're like, okay, I already made 250. These next 15 are just going to be easy at that point. So, and Brownlee was one of those guys that helped me do that. As far as Coach Tim Cone, randomly, one time I was going back home to the States to visit my family, and we were on the same flight, and we were sitting next to each other. So me and Coach Tim had a lot of time. It was cool. Like, it was
Did
really
he try
cool,
to get you the Nebra jersey?
No.
Did he try to recruit the Nebra jersey?
It was more real talk. It was more just like
the
next thing he wants to see in me is my leadership. He was telling me like the skill set is all there, the drive is all there, and he was just like, now I feel like the next step for you as a player is to become a leader, like a real leader,
right.
And lead your team, and that was before this last finals, actually, that we talked about it, and then it was after the finals that he actually said, he was like, yeah, like you're doing well, keep it up. So he actually said, I'm proud of you for you've grown so much.
Man, that means a lot.
It means a lot.
Yeah,
definitely means a lot.
We all know what Team Cone is. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure if you ask him, he'd probably say he'd be transparent about what he said to me. I don't think he would hide it from anyone, but he's definitely one of the coaches I have the most respect for, because outside of the rivalry and everything that goes on and stuff like that, he still finds the time to sit down and talk to me, and he actually cares about my development as a player, even though he's not my head coach. You know, that says a lot. That says a lot, and that means a lot.
Now, Chris, let's talk about your very impressive 2019. I mean, we all know you made it to finals, but you won your first gold medal.
Yeah.
So, but when you heard your name in that 3x3 pool, and you had guys like Terence Romeo at that time. I think they had Chris Panchero at that time. They had a lot of talented players. Bolick, yeah. So how was that? You know, how was that experience for you? And eventually, how was it stepping on the court, representing your country for the whole world?
That was something I always dreamed of, man. Like whenever they put my name in the pool, you know, like honestly, I've tried to suit up for Gilas multiple times. I've tried to be a part of the pool multiple times, but every time I get shot down because of eligibility, right? I wasn't able to get my passport before the age of 16, so that's where the eligibility stuff comes in. And it's just unfortunate, because I would love to, and like I said, every time I tried, it would just get shot down. Even when Morocco represented the Philippines in Thailand, this was, what was that? Asian? What was the Asian Cup? I can't remember. It was a FIBA Asia Cup, I think.
FIBA Asia Cup.
Asian
Games. I think that was
Asian Games. Asian Games. Yeah, you're right. Asian Games.
Yeah.
That's what it was. So even then, I tried to suit up with Morocco and represent the Philippines, and it still didn't happen. So here we go again. It's like, okay, you're in the 3-on-3 pool. You might be eligible, you might not, but you're in the pool, so let's see. And I was like, you know what? If I'm in the pool, I'm just going to show up and make sure I'm there. So I made sure I attended every single practice. I made sure that my face was there so that they know I'm serious. And I think Coach Ronnie knew how serious I was, because we worked together at Morocco. We worked together at Ateneo and even in the D League, I was under Coach Ronnie Magsanok. So we have a lot of history together. And when the opportunity came, he knew right away how serious I was and how bad I wanted it. So I made sure I was there. I was at practice. I never missed a practice. Even if we just came from practice, I made sure I was there. And I think there was only 2 guys that didn't miss a practice, and that was me and Perkins.
Yeah, I'll be a testament to that, because the whole time, the whole practice of yours, I was there every night. After because you guys came up after the 5-on-5 team, right?
Yep.
You guys had a Miracle team after the 5-on-5 team. And I see you and Jason and Mo. Terrence, I saw him one time.
Yeah, he was there once.
CJ was there. And I'm just
CJ had
seeing you
games, so
guys.
he had to miss a few.
Yeah, he missed a
Uh,
few, but he was pretty consistent still. And
Bolick was
just
the other
seeing you,
one. He got
and
injured.
he got injured, fortunately. But yeah, seeing you guys, because you guys are not just playing, you're studying how to play 3x3.
Yeah,
And that
yeah,
was
yeah.
just a really cool thing for you to always be there. And we used to have conversations actually.
Yeah,
I
yeah, of course.
remember, we have
Mhm,
conversation after your games and just
mhm.
talking about that whole experience. And I remember you saying that you're just really excited and how how you guys will be able to play in the SEA Games.
Yeah,
But how was that gold medal game match for you?
it was crazy, man. Like, honestly, I was just focusing on winning. There's at this point, it's not about representing, a company. It's not about representing yourself. You're representing a whole country, right? So,
Yeah,
the weight is so much different, and you understand that you are representing a country, so you really have to bring your best. And
yeah,
so, this being my first 3-on-3 tournament, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know how good these players really were. Um, all we had was some film, but of course, until you actually go up against them, that's when you really find out. So then finally got out there first for our first game. That's, getting your feet wet, kind of understanding how the game works, how the flow works. Is even then we didn't really have like tune-up games or scrimmages or anything like that, because we didn't really have the personnel or the time. So we kind of just learned as we went, and we adjusted our game plan as we went. But getting to that gold medal match, like we already played the whole pool, so we knew what we were capable of, and we knew exactly who to focus on, who to stop as far as Indonesia goes, and what our game plan was. And in that gold medal match, I think at that point we perfected the formula of what we needed to do to win.
yeah.
We knew what pieces we had and how we can score, how we can get stops, and it was actually really nice to see. It was really nice to play with Perk. He's a workhorse. He's very, very smart, and
Sheesh.
he's just one of those guys you always want in your corner. CJ, he brings that energy, and he was that
Oh,
youth for us, and having me and CJ as a tandem together, you're talking about two of the most athletic guards, and
yeah.
that was really fun for me to be able to play with CJ. And then Mo, he's Mo. He's a big clown, but whenever he comes to playing, he
He's
brings it.
business. All
Yeah,
business.
he he
Yeah.
he, he brings it, and I think our chemistry actually, our team chemistry for that 3x3 team was, it was one of the strongest bonds that I've felt in a long time on a team.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like that 3-on-3 team could compete internationally as far as like with some of the best
It was a
3-on-3
pretty
teams.
complete 3x3 team. But
Yeah, when you're talking about,
go on,
I'm
go on.
sorry. I was gonna say when you're talking about size, we had it. When you're talking about mobility, we had it, and when you're talking about outside shooting, we had it too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I didn't really see any other team that could have competed with us as far as in Southeast Asia games, um, as far as that goes. So it was just a matter of going out there and getting it. And once we got it, we can finally relax, and we actually enjoyed it. Uh,
And take us
for
back at that finals game because CJ did this nasty dunk. Man,
Yeah,
what can
man,
you remember about that one?
when he did that, I was just like, "Oh my goodness!" like,
That was
it
nasty.
reminded me of myself, right? Like
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I got excited as if that was me out there. But seeing that come from CJ, I mean, I've seen him do it. I know he's that type of player. But then, of course, I was just really, really hype, and I think again we were feeding off each other's energy. We know how energetic of a player Mo is,
Yeah.
and once he gets going, we start feeding off of
Yeah.
him too. Our thing was just our strategy was just to stay fresh, so we wanted to rotate as much as possible because say in a 3x3 game, you can go 4 minutes without actually taking a break because it's so continuous, right? So we just wanted to make sure that we all stayed fresh, that our rotations were always good, and that we took advantage of our mismatches. But at the end of the day, it was a great experience. It was a great experience to finally put the jersey on.
Yeah.
And
I have that Filipinas jersey on your chest.
Yeah, man. It's actually I got it right here in my place. And it's framed. Well, we can't see because let's see if I can turn this off. So it was like one of the first things I did. Bam. I put it over here in this frame.
Oh
wow, that's awesome.
Yep.
That's really cool.
That's cool.
So I did really that just as like to cement that moment for me.
Yeah.
And it was kind of cool because that gold medal match was actually on my girlfriend Cam's birthday, so that was really nice. We were able to have the dinner, and it was like a birthday dinner / celebration dinner and all that. So that was a great day for me, and it's one of those days I'll remember for a long time.
Yeah, Chris, one of the most anticipated in that lineup was you were teaming up with Jason Perkins, your rival back in college. So how was that? How was it playing with your rival?
How was that?
That was great, actually. That's one of the reasons why me and Perk we realized that, and we were like, dude, let's make it happen. We've been waiting for this because we understand that we're both competitors, and actually sometimes Perk is assigned to guard me specifically. You know, they tried to use him to get a bigger body on me, and so I knew how he plays, and he knew he knows how I play. And now, kind of similar to what I was telling you about Kiefer earlier, like we both have that mutual understanding. Like we both know that we can go. Now it's like, okay, how can we get it done together?
Yeah.
And so he knew we worked together as far as like pick and roll situations, defensive situations. He was easy to talk to because he's very, very smart. Perk's basketball IQ is actually really good. And I think that's a facet of his game that a lot of people that actually don't really look at. But he's very smart player. And to finally be teammates with him was a great experience. And CJ too. I actually played against CJ before when he was in San Sebastian.
And that was before he played for Lyceum.
Yeah, before that was before he even went to Ateneo.
Oh yeah, that was before.
Yeah. So he was still young, and
you guys were supposed to be teammates. You were supposed to be teammates.
Yeah, for a year. But anyways, so me and CJ were like, we finally get to be teammates. Let's go.
Finally, right?
Yeah.
It was like a full circle for you.
Same thing with Mo.
Full circle for you.
Because Mo was, I always went up against Mo in the D League. And actually, funny story about Mo is my Division II Highlands. We were in the same conference as Mo's Division II, which was Shadron State. So we played against each other Division II before both of us even came to the Philippines, and we didn't even know it though. We didn't realize it until we came here already, and it was like right before the draft, and we were like, "Oh, you went to that college?" And he was like, "Yeah." That's cool. That's really cool.
The
beauty of the game.
It was a full circle for you.
Full circle.
Chris, now we'll just step away from the game. Now we just talk about your life off court, and I'm a big shoe guy.
Okay.
I always check out what the players have on court and off court, and even on Instagram, I see you flexing your kicks on Instagram. You even have this awesome post where you dribble the ball and then new shoes was on your feet. And even when I see you after the game, like, man, he's nice. Like his drip is too much. So have you always been a shoe guy yourself?
Yeah. So funny thing about it is when I was in college, I actually had a job, and I was working at Foot Locker. I don't know if you know what Foot Locker is in the States. It's similar to it's like Titan, right? Yeah. So I worked at Foot Locker for a little over a year, and so that's kind of where I got my shoe experience. You know, like I was selling shoes to people, and then at the same time, I would always see like when the new shoes are coming out. I would always actually, whenever the shipment would come in, I would be the one that has to put them in the stock room and make sure they're all organized and stuff.
Yeah.
So I would always make sure I take my pair and set it aside, so that way I get the first pick, right? So it was a great experience, though. You know, like it was a job, and it actually helped me save money for whenever I moved out here to attend Ateneo.
Yeah.
And it kept me around the game because, like, as you know, with the game comes a whole culture, you know,
Yep.
from kicks to what you're wearing to just everything. You can even talk about like 2K and stuff like that as a whole culture, right? You know, so
Yeah.
it was just part of the culture, and I loved it. I always loved shoes. Whenever I grew up, there used to be a magazine that it's called East Bay, and they usually have all the shoes and stuff. And what I would do is I would go through it and I would cut out all the shoes that I really liked, and I would kind of make like a little collage, and it was just like, yo, these are like my favorite shoes. These are the shoes I always wanted. And yeah, so I always kind of had this thing for shoes, and it's just crazy now. I'm just so blessed that I'm able to be a part of Team Nike ever since Ateneo, actually. And you know, that's like a dream come true for any basketball player, to just be able to receive shoes, and you know, you don't have to pay for them or anything like that, and that's just a blessing, man. But I guess that also comes with the hard work that you put into the game, because those are the things that you do work for. Those are the things that you do put those endless hours of training and you know, all that focus into, to try to get those perks and stuff like that. But I do realize it's not forever.
Yeah.
So outside of basketball, that's why I also focus on business and other things that can keep me going. Because sometimes if you get too immersed in basketball alone, sometimes it can be overwhelming, and especially whenever, say, your team's not doing well, then you can easily slip into like a not necessarily a good place, where you're just like, you start to lose passion for the game and things like that. So sometimes it's very important to have those other things that can kind of help you detach from the game, whether maybe maybe you're into like gaming, like streaming and stuff like that, or maybe you're into like drawing or whatever. But for me personally, my interest is I like making music, and I like doing things as far as like photography and videography sometimes when I have the time.
That photography. I think you got one over there.
It's about that photography.
Yeah.
Well, actually, we both, the two of us, are photography fans, and we just want to ask you, when did you start getting into photography?
Yeah, so
we saw this thing, like you're into sports photography particularly.
Yeah, sports photography.
Yeah. Well, actually, I started with media arts back in college at Highlands. So media arts was going to be my degree. And then what I did is I shifted from like media arts as a whole into music production. So I went into like specific, like the track of learning how to produce and make music and things like that. And then, so I transferred to Ateneo, and they didn't have a music production course. So I decided to go back into communications or media arts. And then, so throughout the whole process, I've taken like photography courses, you know, all kinds of different courses as far as like media goes. And so that's whenever I started to understand how the camera works, and developing like that passion to use the camera. And you know, it's just an art form in itself whenever you look at it. And that's what I enjoy about it, is that you can use it as an art form, a form of expression, and all types of different things. And so that's whenever I was able to purchase my first camera. And that's when I started using that to kind of take photos at PBA games, and that's whenever it was kind of like my early scouting report. I would show up to.
That was really cool.
I'm sorry.
Do you see yourself doing that? We all know your retirement is too far, but when you retire, do you see yourself doing that? Joining the media, doing all that stuff.
Oh, all right.
A lot of people actually ask me that because few reasons. They think they say I talk well on camera. So whenever they're whenever they're saying they would love to have me as like a sportscaster.
Like
ESPN's. Yeah, like they've already asked me to do some things like that. But however, I told them I don't necessarily think that my thing is talking on camera per se. Like I'm more of a behind the scenes type of guy, which is why photography works for me. Like you don't with photography, you don't have to necessarily go out and talk about it or voice about it. You let the pictures speak for themselves. Is it something I would get into afterwards? Maybe. I think I could see myself getting into some form of photography. Maybe not sports photography per se, but maybe it might.
Photography in general.
Yeah, maybe photography in general, because even till now, I still study about it. I still look for prime lenses and things like that on my free time. That's some things that only photography people would do.
What brand do you usually use? What brand of camera?
So recently, I've been mirrorless with Fujifilm.
Fujifilm.
Yeah,
nice.
It's
a speaking brand.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Like I just got the XT20. What was that? Like maybe what was that, 3 or 4 years ago? Like 3 years ago. And it's been great. It's a great investment. As far as video goes, it's perfect for video, like for social media content. It's perfect for that. It still works as far as everything I need to. It's more about the prime lenses, if anything. That's the bigger investment.
That's really cool. That's really cool.
But I enjoy it.
Other hobby. But one of the things that I actually saw, you play Call of Duty, and you were in a tournament one time. Yeah, there we go. Warzone Cup. This was a project of Slam and Goat, right?
Yep, that's right.
Yeah. So how was it? Did you guys win in this tournament?
We did not win. I do play a little bit. I'm not like a hardcore gamer. I just do it just to like it's just kind of like one of those occasional things I do to pass time or just to kind of just have a little bit of fun with some friends and stuff, because that's kind of like social interaction nowadays. If you can't do it in person, then we can all just turn on our games, get into a chat or a group, and then just kind of play a game together, and we can still talk to each other via mics and stuff. So you still have that sense of like community and stuff like that when you're playing. And I think that's the biggest joy I get out of playing online games. I can still.
What other games do you play?
Right now, it's mostly just Call of Duty. I've been on was that Fall Guys? I don't know if you heard of that. That's another. Yeah,
I haven't really heard about it.
It's a funny game. It's kind of like an arcade game. But you guys can Google it or YouTube it, and you'll see it's like a bunch of guys in like little suits that are running around, and you're playing a bunch of mini games, kind of like Mario Party. But anyways, like it's little games like that, but more competition games, because if I can't compete on the court, I have to fulfill that craving some other way.
Do you play COD on PC or on PS4?
I have PS4.
PS4, yeah. Well, that's harder.
It is.
I find it harder.
It's much harder. I actually hate PC players because it's so good.
Yeah, it was a lot easier for them. It's a hack.
It's like a hack.
They're just so close.
Yeah.
Are you considering doing some stream as well? I mean, Junmar is
not necessarily.
Yeah, a lot are doing streams right now.
I know, it's a big thing. Stream? It might come eventually. It definitely might come eventually, but as of right now, no. My actual priority right now is business, trying to establish other streams of income for myself, so that way I could be ready for life after basketball. And then by the time I get all that set up, then probably I might step into that streaming lifestyle a little bit.
Yeah.
But for now, I think it's fun, and I definitely see the potential in it. I just know it's not for me at the moment. And I'll take
I gotta know
avenues.
though, who's the best COD player in the PBA?
Best COD player in the PBA. I don't know. It's hard to say because I haven't played against a lot of the guys, especially the only people that I played were in this tournament. And I would have to say the best player that was in this tournament.
Yourself?
No, far from it. I'm actually one of the worst, man. I would have to say Simon and Ciso is really good.
Oh, okay.
I know he does it pretty serious. And Maverick Ahamisi.
Oh, Maverick. Okay. How about Kelly? Kelly Nabong. I know he plays.
Kelly, he plays. He's decent. He's not the greatest. He's decent. Those would probably be the two.
Yeah.
Simon's up there for sure. Like on average, he'll average like maybe like 6 or 7 kills. So
that's nice.
He's pretty
okay,
decent.
Simon, we see you.
Yeah,
that's very nice. Yeah, we gotta play some COD at some point.
Yeah, as far as like the other games, like Dota and stuff like that. I used to play in college, but I haven't played competitively. That's like a whole nother beast.
Haven't you gone back to it since it's the pandemic? I mean, you got nothing going on. Haven't you tried playing it again?
because I don't have the proper PC setup for it.
Oh,
I just have I have my Mac, and then like it's already. I keep all my other stuff on my Mac, and then the computer I was actually using, it what do you call it? Like the hard drive collapsed.
What hard drive?
Like my hard drive for my laptop, it just kind of fried and everything got. So I have to replace the whole drive.
Oh, so okay.
That would be an investment.
Yeah, that would be another investment.
That would be an investment.
We're now down to our last two segments of the show.
Sure.
We got this new segment of the show. This is the first time we're gonna try this one, but we want to see how clutch you are in crucial moments. Let's put up the 1 minute timer in the screen.
Oh my gosh!
This is what we're gonna do. This segment is called Crunch Time.
All right, Crunch Time.
Segment, what we're gonna do is we're gonna ask you questions. You got 1 minute to answer as many questions as you can.
Oh my gosh, I'm nervous. Okay.
I'm gonna go first, and then Mig has his own question.
Yeah.
And we'll go.
Oh, so we're doing it twice?
No. We'll do it alternately.
Oh, okay. Rapid fire. Got it.
Okay. All right, you got this. I've seen you play big in the clutch moments. So let's see. 3,
this is fun.
2, 1. Let's go. So, championship or gold medal?
Woo! Championship.
Coach you want to play for?
Norman Black.
Most unstoppable player you faced?
Junmar Fajardo.
Favorite musical instrument?
Drums.
Pre-game ritual?
Meditate.
Favorite clothing brand?
Nike.
Hobby that no one knows about?
Music production.
A 50-point game or a triple-double game?
50.
A nasty dunk or a deep 3?
Dunk. Nasty dunk all day.
Song you listen to before the game?
J. Cole, Rise and Shine.
Complete the sentence. I'm Chris Newsome and my legacy will be?
Awesome forever.
There we go. Awesome forever. Okay. So, Chris, one last time, we want to see you come up clutch again. We've asked our 6 previous guests here on the show. Only one has really given us a full answer. So, give us your Mount Rushmore of the PBA.
The PBA, definitely Junmar's there.
Okay.
The 4 slot's kind of hard. And it's also hard because I didn't technically get to see a lot of the people before me.
And that's cool. That's okay.
So Junmar's there. I would have to put Benji Paras there.
Benji.
Yeah.
I would definitely have to do that.
Of course.
3.
You don't want to put yourself?
I would put myself at the 2, shooting guard. But that's so tough. I would have.
Your mentor would be. You'll hear it from your mentor if you don't say his name. For sure.
Oh, Jimmy's definitely there. Jimmy's there. That's so tough. Because I have a lot of guys. Because like you can throw Mark Aguila in there. You could throw James Yap in there.
A lot. You can throw a lot actually.
Yeah, for that 3 spot. Or for the 2-3 spots. Those are really hard. There's been too many good players.
Last one.
I might have to say Mark Aguila on this one.
Mark Aguila, all right. Yeah, that's a great Mount Rushmore too.
Just because Mark Aguila was a beast in his prime.
Yeah, he was. He actually was.
So was Willie Miller though.
Oh yeah, Willie Miller was a different. Like left-handed 2-time MVP.
Yeah, he's not going to be a 2-time MVP for nothing.
It was no joke. Yeah, I could agree on that one. And that's a tough list.
The Mount Rushmore is hard. That's hard to do. Even in the NBA, like you might have to do Mount Rushmore per generation, actually.
Yeah. Well,
like so, if I had to pick, let's say 2000. Let's say 2010 to 2020. We can do that.
Yeah.
I would say Junmar. I would say Jimmy's still there. I would say probably Ranadel De Ocampo would be the 4.
RDO.
You might have to throw Stanley. You might have to throw Stanley and myself.
Yeah.
Stanley Pringle and myself.
Yeah. That's a great list for the 2010, 2020 Mount Rushmore.
Who was? Can I ask? Do you guys know who was another player that scored 50 plus recently?
Recently? Oh.
No one, right?
I think Stan was the last time. Not quite sure.
Brownlee scored 50.
Yeah, an import
Commissioner's
scored 50.
In the Commissioner's
in terms of a local player.
But local, no, right?
Yeah, no, I think
it's been a while.
Yeah, Stan was the last time the last player who actually did that.
Yeah, that's what makes me put him over that edge for me.
Yeah.
That's not a small feat. That's hard to do.
It's hard to do, especially in the PBA.
Yeah,
anyway,
especially
that concludes this episode of the Athletes Corner. But before we go, brother, we'll give you some time. The floor is yours. Maybe you want to give a shout out or want to plug. You said you were doing businesses.
Yeah,
here, we'll put it up.
Sure. CD, Miguel, Ernest, thank you for having me on the show today. I had a great time chatting with you guys, man. It's always great to reflect on the past and the things that have helped us to become what we are today. Because, of course, without any of that, we would be completely different people. So I'm definitely grateful for the past, for making me who I am today. And again, we can each look at our individual stories and kind of reflect on the things that have made us who we are today. And I think it's very important to continue to support one another, especially during this time. So all of you guys out there that are listening, continue to shed your light with not just your family, but your friends and the people around you. Cherish every moment that you have with your family and friends, because now more than ever, I think we need to cherish this life we have despite everything going on. As far as my personal life, thank you guys for always supporting me throughout my basketball career and everything that I've gone through to this point. If you want to follow me, you can check out my Instagram at new11new, Twitter at new11new also, and then I have a Facebook fan page. That's Chris Newsome. Started a YouTube a little bit, but not really so big into YouTube. It's just more like just trying to like highlights and stuff like that. Trying to like just have some cuts and some highlights and all whatever I can do as far as that goes. But what else? Business wise, I have a couple things that are coming out soon. It's still a little too early to announce it. We're gonna do our official launch. I can say one. So I have a clothing company called Gifted that's going to be releasing sometime at the end of September. And the message behind it is that we are all gifted. We are all unique, and we all have like special abilities that make us what we are. So it's about embracing that gift and releasing it to the world. So
Nice
look out for my clothing brand, Gifted. And then I also got a couple other ventures that are going on. If anybody needs USANA products, you can hit me up for the best supplements in the game. I'm currently doing USANA as a business as well. So CD Miguel, if you're interested in that, you can hit me up as well. We can talk business.
We'll look into that.
And then the last one that I can plug is 808 Dance Studio. That is one of the studios that I've invested in, and doing it as a joint venture with my girlfriend. And we have been doing that since the beginning of the pandemic. And what it is online dance. Well, right now it's online, but it's a dance fitness class. And so basically you sign up and we have instructors that will take you through a nice little workout, and you got some dance choreography in there as well. And it's just a great time for anyone that signs up. And yeah, it's actually doing pretty well right now during the pandemic. So for anyone looking for a form of fitness and you like to have a nice little dance session as well, you can join 808, and you can look at their Instagram at 808. What is that? 808 Studio.
Yeah, there we go.
808 Studio PH on Instagram. That's all my plugs. That's all the business right there. That's a lot.
All right, man. Well, on behalf of my team, thank you very much, Chris. It's an honor to have you on the show, brother.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Anytime you guys want to talk hoops or whatever, I'm always game.
Yep.
I'm always game to be a guest for you guys.
Yeah.
All right.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. But before we go, Mig, we have so much friends hitting us up, getting mad because we're not giving them shout outs. So I'll start it off. I just want to give a shout out to my high school friends, Alexis, Miguel, Aldred, Lorenzo, Ian. He had a new baby, so congratulations, brother.
To
my dad, happy birthday, Pops. 50. Last
August. Hey, big
50.
50. Happy
50
birthday.
My dad. Happy birthday, Dad. And of course, all of our college friends. Shout out to you guys. We love you. Thank you all for your support. All yours, Meg.
Of course, I'd like to shout out my family. Thank you for everything that you've done. And this will be short. Shout out to my girlfriend. Thank you.
Yeah, there you go.
I know you'll be watching this. We'll be celebrating our second anniversary on the 19th. So
yeah.
Congrats.
I got nothing like that, so I'm gonna just close. I got nothing, so I'm gonna just close the show. Thank you guys for watching. We've been your host. My name is CD Argarin.
And my name is Miguel La Torre. Like, comment, share, and subscribe para mag-update kayo sa mga susunod naming episodes.
This has been the Athlete's Corner, and before we close the show, I just want to leave a little message for everyone. I just want you guys to remember, life is not the amount of breaths you take, but it is the moment that take your breath away. See you guys on the next episode. Peace.
Thank you for watching. Click the subscribe button and ring the bell to be notified with our latest videos.